How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
You're listening to Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day where I've decided to change coasts. LA to Jersey. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? This could be interesting. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just keep on doing. That's what we do around here. It's December. It's Christmas time. There's a lot of stuff going on. You know, everybody's working a little harder. Everybody's trying to get to the holiday. And, tensions are high. It just seems that out and about tensions are high.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Notre Dame not making the playoff. I don't know.
And that's affecting...
It's affecting people's lives, apparently. I have no idea. I just know that there are a few more bad drivers out there. There are... people's patience are starting to wear thin as we get closer to the big fella. It just, everybody needs to breathe a little bit. That's my advice. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. It's not that bad.
Everybody needs to Aaron Rodgers it. Relax. 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 Okay. All right. Well, I mean, this whole college football system and what have you, it's got people, it's got people worked up.
And there's another college football story out there. And David, I'm sure you saw it yesterday. You read more than I do. But we've talked about this. We've talked about conferences entertaining this, and they haven't. The Big 12 didn't. The Big 10 hasn't yet. But Utah did yesterday.
Yes, they did, Mark.
They jumped into the deep end. And look, I understand that a lot of you don't like NIL. I understand even more of you do not like the transfer portal. I had no problem with NIL. I don't like the way it's being run. I think it could be done a lot better. Make the athletes employees. I don't love the transfer portal. I don't like the timing of it. I think it could be done better. I think there's a simple solution that no one wants to talk about. Offer players a 4-year contract. Seems pretty simple to me. Then they're under contract, and then they don't leave. But the schools don't want to do that. And the fans just bitch because they're behind the schools the same way, David, they're behind the teams in the pro sports. When a player holds out, and we've been doing this a long time, they don't ever take the side of the player.
No.
It's funny. We all work for the man. We've said this 1,000 times on this show. I mean, Miller and Moulton don't anymore. We work for ourselves. I'd love the man to be paying me a nice salary and not have to do all the things that I do, but it's all right. We're fine with our situation. Sponsors still available. We'd love to have you. But I don't think I'm ready for private equity in Miller and Moulton because they'll try to squeeze blood out of a turnip, man. I mean, this seems on the surface like Utah is getting this big influx of cash. But then others are making decisions on behalf of Utah. And this is the scary thing that a lot of folks have talked about. And Miller and Moulton have professed our ignorance in a lot of ways to private equity. How do they get their money back? That's the question we keep asking. Well, I don't know about you, David, but the things that I read yesterday and the things that I heard yesterday mean that basically Utah's now for sale. I mean, whatever they can sell, they're going to sell. And if you thought college athletics were messy before yesterday, I think yesterday, David, college athletics got much messier with Utah jumping into the private equity pool. Because, David, when one school does it, you know what happens. It's a domino effect.
So the University of Utah, just going to read to you a couple paragraphs. Hope this isn't too boring at this hour.
Well, like a snooze button, David. If it's boring, they can just turn their head over and go back to bed.
That is true. So it's a New York-based firm, Otro Capital, will help generate an estimated $500 million for the school. The deal expected to be finalized in the first quarter of 2026. Utah had to receive clearance from the NCAA to enter into this partnership, and it must abide, Mark, by certain stipulations to remain an NCAA member. For instance, university president and athletic director must retain majority decision-making control. With the groundbreaking deal comes the creation of a for-profit entity called Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC. It will exist as an independent offshoot of the athletic department, co-owned by the university and Otro Capital. The school is the majority owner and possesses decision-making authority, including on schedules, coaching, hirings, while Otro Capital earns a percentage of the company's annual revenue. The agreement has an exit strategy 5 to 7 years down the line, and the university possesses the right to purchase Otro Capital's ownership stake. This Utah Brands and Entertainment will oversee the revenue-sharing efforts with the athletes. The AD will be the chairman of the board. Okay. And the athletic department's umbrella will largely exist as part of this new company. Donors will be able to purchase stakes in Utah Brands and Entertainment. Between the investments from the donors and a 9-figure deal with Otro Capital, Utah could raise $500 million, setting itself up for sustained success in this revenue-sharing era of college athletics. And the reason that this is possible goes back to the House versus NCAA court case of 2024. So there you have it. And Mark, of all the things you said, the one thing that I think many of us are willing to bet that you are 100% right about. Now that Utah has broken the seal, look out.
And let me just explain one thing to our audience. A lot of you may know it. And Miller and Moulton, come on, we don't talk down to you guys. We try to talk to you and with you. But Ohio State is the most powerful brand in college football. It's not arguable. It's not. They get the best television ratings. They spend the most money. And right now, they seem to be the best program. David, take a guess of how much money that Ohio State profited last year in their athletic department?
The athletic department, not the football program, the athletic department as a whole?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I'd wager they didn't make a profit.
Bingo. They operated at a $38 million deficit. A $38 million deficit. This is Ohio State. So how long before the Big Ten jumps into the private equity pool? It's a short-term solution for a long-term problem. They're spending far more than they're earning, and they think private equity is the answer. Now, Michigan and USC have raised their hand and said, no.
And Ohio State's going back and forth.
Right. But that $38 million deficit has their toe in the private equity waters. So this is the next step in the professionalization of college athletics? I mean, we're really close now. Phrases like student athlete are the dumbest things we've ever heard.
Well, how close is the University of Utah athletics to being the Dodgers? Because the Dodgers are owned by a private equity firm, and that's why they don't care how much they're spending, because they are filthy rich.
Until they're not. And anybody that thinks, and I listened to every word David said, I hope you did too. If anybody truly believes that the athletic director at Utah is running the show for the private equity firm, I'd like to talk to you about a long-term sponsorship deal, and I'm going to charge you 8 times what I charge everybody else because you don't get it. They don't have how long before the AD at Utah runs out of power, if you know what I mean, David?
Well, according to the NCAA, he can't. Okay, I guess, they have to be the controlling entity and have final say. I guess that's part of why the NCAA signed off on it. What I don't understand, once again, like here, there's a 5 to 7 year out, if you will, kind of like the baseball players who sign these 5-year contracts and they get opt out after. What I don't understand is how can the company make its money? If you know what I mean. So if they're going to be out after 5 to 7 years, well, are they the ones shelling out the $500 million? Well, they ain't going to get it back in 5 to 7 years.
Well, David, I think things like, I will say this. I think Utah, believe it or not, because my wife loves this sport, Utah's actually pretty good at gymnastics.
Yes.
They're quite good. I don't believe gymnastics makes a lot of money. How long before the private equity firm says to Utah, your gymnastics program operates at a huge deficit. We need to cut that.
Oh.
In fact, we need to cut every sport but football and men's basketball because they're the only ones that make us money.
Mark, we said this a long time ago. How long until the Olympic sports are club level at major universities? And that basically you'll have to do fundraisers and pay for them you and your parents pay for them out of your pocket in order to play it. That the university is going to be like, we ain't offering scholarships for this. No way. We ain't doing it.
And I know Title IX exists, but I also know at some point these schools could take their ball and start something new. The professionalization of college sports took a big step forward yesterday in Utah. The story is Utah, David.
It is. And I don't know if you and I and most of our audience fully understand it. Mark, I don't know if the folks who work on CNBC and Fox Business fully understand it.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm not nuts. It's on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything in this house is on the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, everything right there. Oh. There.
All right, we just lost David.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for joining us. Great show lined up. It's our Wednesday lineup. If you've been with us for a while, you know the drill right now. That means Seth Everett coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, as well as Bud Elliott. Lots to talk with Bud about, not just about the College Football Playoff Committee selection, but about Notre Dame opting out and what he thinks of the early round of the playoffs and maybe what changes he would make. Everybody is complaining. And Chris Perkins, by the way. I left out Perk, man. Chris Perkins join us at 9 o'clock to talk about the red-hot Dolphins. Can they continue on and on and on and try to make a run at the postseason? One team that is now making a run at the postseason with the grandpa at quarterback, Philip Rivers. We talked about it yesterday. We mentioned it on Monday. Would Philip Rivers be an option for the Indianapolis Colts? He was indeed an option, and he signed yesterday with the Colts. So Grandpa Phil getting his shot in the National Football League with the Colts. And David, you know I don't have a skin in the game when it comes to the NFL. Like, I have a soft spot for the Lions. I've figured that out in the last couple of years. When they're doing well, I'm happier. I genuinely am. I like the Steelers because it's my wife's team, but she doesn't watch the way she used to. So I've got to be honest. She's about to lose the main TV for the Steelers. If she's not going to sit down and watch, then why the hell should she get sound?
She'll get lucky this coming week, though. They play Monday night.
Exactly.
So, right.
But, you know, we say it on this show all the time. We're old now. We've been doing this a long time. When we started, we weren't old. Now we're old. David is a grandfather. Twice. I'm not. Thank goodness. But so is Philip Rivers, a young grandfather, albeit at 44. But and I know most of you have an NFL team, but like we have some Eagles fans that are active listeners every day. I won't get into the AFC guy because if you're an AFC fan, then you're rooting for your team. But if you're a fan of an NFC team, are you quietly pulling for Philip Rivers right now? I was never a monster Philip Rivers fan. I wasn't an anti-Philip Rivers person. I've been surprised at listening to some of the national talking heads just say he's a Hall of Famer because I don't think that he is. David and I have talked about this on the show many times. We think he walks right up to the door, and then they say, Mr. Rivers, it'll be $28.50 to get in today. But don't you kind of have to root for the grandpa? Isn't there something about us being old now, David? And maybe I wouldn't have rooted for him at 28. Maybe I'd have said, I can't wait till he gets hit by a young guy. But now I want to see him. I want to see him do well.
Well, Mark, a couple of things. I want to see him at least do well enough so that when the Colts play the Texans, the final game of the regular season, a playoff spot is on the line. You know, they need to win it, and they have a very daunting schedule. The rest of the way. I think I wrote it down here. At Seattle, home for the Niners and Jags, and then at Houston. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears can look at that schedule and go, wow, the Colts got a tough schedule the rest of the way.
Right. So, you know, a couple of questions in our respective chat rooms. He was activated to the practice squad yesterday. That does not affect his Hall of Fame status if he gets put on the active roster, whether he plays or not. The clock starts up again, and he's not eligible for the Hall of Fame till 2031. So for a guy who was, this year? Was he a semifinalist this year or was going to be next year?
Next year,
okay.
I believe.
So now, you know, he is likely to be put on the active roster. They're hoping that Riley Leonard's healthy enough to play this weekend. We'll see if they really are hoping that. Or if, quite frankly, supposedly, take it for what it's worth, Rivers looked really good at practice yesterday, except his endurance was not very good, which one would expect. So So I'm rooting for him. And you and I talked about this yesterday. I actually think if he gets the Colts into the playoffs, it'll help him get into the Hall of Fame.
I don't know how it can. I mean, seriously, like I said before, I've been this way for years. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. He comes back at 44, takes the Colts to the playoffs. Ooh, that may bode well in that room. That may be the tipping point because it's really close. I think if you polled, a lot of NFL people, he might get 60, 70% of the vote. But what do you need to get in out of that room, out of the people in that room, David? You need a pretty strong number, right? 75%, I believe?
I think it might be 80.
Okay. And I think he's really close to that. This may push it over the edge.
There's only 4 quarterbacks in league history who have ever played at this age. We all know Brady recently. But before that, Vinny Testaverde, Warren Moon, Steve DeBerg, the others. And they were not regular players at that age. I don't know. George Blanda won an MVP for the Raiders back in the day. And I'm trying to think, okay, he was 48, when he took some snaps at quarterback, but he was primarily their kicker. Now, the 1 year, he substituted and quarterbacked a little bit and made like 4 game-winning kicks, and he actually won the MVP award. But to be the regular quarterback, you can count this on one hand, and really, you could count it on one finger, and that's Brady from a few years ago. And we all acknowledge that Brady's final year was not the Tom Brady of his heyday, as you would expect. So
I've got it up as a poll question. Are you rooting for 44-year-old Phillip Rivers to take the Colts to the playoffs? And I know if you're listening in Jacksonville right now, you're clicking that no button as fast as is humanly possible. I get it. I understand. And maybe, if you're a Broncos fan or if you're a Steelers fan or whatever in the AFC, Patriots fan, you're going, yeah, get the old guy in. I'd rather see him than Houston.
Of course, it's funny if you're a Jags fan. You're like, well, I don't want him to beat us, but I want him to beat Houston. Okay, if he's going to go 2-2 as a starter here, can I pick which ones?
But, David, you mentioned that schedule. And
daunting.
Well, not just daunting, defensive. I mean, look at the teams that they're playing. Houston, they kind of got a pass rush. Jacksonville, one of the best defenses in the league. San Francisco, not so much. I mean, their defense is good, but their pass rush lacks a little bit. But you know what I'm getting at. If he does this, it's against some pretty good defenses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Not only
Seattle
that.
Seattle gets after the quarterback. That's the fact. If he plays this week, it's Seattle, man. That's a good defense. That's a really good defense.
I mean, just 10-3, 9-4, 9-4, 8-5 on a 5-game winning streak. I mean, welcome, Grandpa. Welcome back to the NFL.
The NFL.
Right. Not
Crazy.
The UFL.
Right.
Not Thanksgiving dinner over Lee Sterling's house where he's this, celebrity quarterback.
Right. This isn't the TGL golf circuit where they're playing the game in a simulator. This is live bullets coming at you, man.
Right.
So I'm rooting for him. Throw it up as a poll question. I'll probably come up with something else here momentarily, but that's our start. You got somewhere to start, David. With 44-year-old Phillip Rivers on a practice squad now, whether or not he makes the team and plays Sunday, yet to be seen. Our poll questions yesterday with Notre Dame and others opting out of the bowl games. How long will the bowl system survive? 2/3 of you said 5 years. The rest of you said 10 years, and some said it would be fine. And according to you, Mendoza from Indiana is winning the Heisman close over Pavia from Vandy. The starting 5. That's what we do next.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Faroe versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That's my Wi-Fi in this house. So it works everywhere else.
I know.
Like a rock.
This is like the black hole of Calcutta.
Yep.
Here's the good thing about your cough. Are you ready?
What?
It's from your throat, okay? From your lungs. You went to sleep, you didn't cough.
No,
He can't see it and he can't hear it, Johnny,
Well,
because he doesn't
I
have
said,
it.
well.
And he doesn't care. And it's not his mom, it's
Woke up
not
at
his wife,
4.
it's his mother.
But, all right, let me get going here. Johnny, that's my mom. But no.
100% you are. Might as well sit down next to him.
Robes, Mom picked up fresh bagels. So, including pumpernickel. Folks can hear you now. Well, and Sonny, what's interesting is this is one of their own, too. This is one of their own. Oh, no. Oh. I know. Oh, my God, you're going to love this. Mark's internet just went out. Yeah. That's so hysterical. Sure, I'll eat, the 5 to 7 is when I'll be done. So you can go lay down if you want. Now that I've gotten the whole house up. We're coming back. Just be patient, everybody. It's quite a morning.
Yeah, that's really the only question and answer that we have. I don't know. It looks like I've got David back, but I don't see him yet. There he is. I'll be damned. David, hello. How are you? Welcome to the show.
It's hysterical behind the scenes. I don't know if you told everyone in the last minute or so while you were filling, but so I've had internet problems at my mom's house in Jersey. I've had to wake the whole house up. My Aunt Kathy doesn't normally get up before 9. All right. I woke her up at 10 minutes to 6. I needed everybody's, settings and password and all that. And so we get me on the air. And I make it through the first segment. I get disconnected during the first commercial break. I barely get back on at the beginning of the second segment. And then we're in the second commercial break, and Mark loses his internet. And let me tell you, Miller and Moulton are juggling a lot right now. We don't need the broadcasting gods messing with us today the way they've messed with us. Okay?
What the hell? At least, you know what? Things happen. Blank happens, and it happens to us a lot. And I was able to get through that. While the problem, David, is the 2-factor authentication that I have to do. Because not only do I have to get on the computer and type a password while doing the show, then I have to answer the phone and go through that.
Exactly.
And I'll be damned, while trying to rapidly type the password the first time, because they require a really long password here. I can't just do ABC 1, 2, 3. And you got to change it every so often. And you got to have about 10 letters and characters and all that crap. I mistyped it the first time. I was 0 for 1. But I hit the second one, which means it's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. BST. Colts signed quarterback Phillip Rivers to the practice squad. The 44-year-old who retired 5 years ago reunited with Shane Steichen. They spent 6 years together with the Chargers. Rivers and Steichen are tight. Apparently, Rivers, for his high school team, has been running the same offense that Steichen runs with the Colts. Riley Leonard, hurt week to week with a knee injury. Brett Rippon is also on the practice squad. Colts finish at Seattle, home for the Niners and Jags, and at Houston. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 8-5. They're on the outside looking in for a playoff spot right now. Will Phillip Rivers at 44 be coming to the rescue? It looks like it. College football news. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, he destroyed Notre Dame yesterday, and specifically their athletic director, Pete Bavacqua's behavior, calling it egregious. Yormark specifically mentioned how the ACC saved Notre Dame's bacon in the pandemic year when most of Notre Dame's schedule wasn't going to play football. And the ACC, remember, brought Notre Dame into the conference. They went 9-0 in conference play and qualified for the ACC title game. And even though Clemson got revenge and beat them the second time, Notre Dame qualified for the playoff. And Yormark went after Notre Dame. Yormark also went so far as to say he agreed with the final choices that the committee made, including leaving BYU out. That I felt was interesting. Also in college football news, and we talked about it, Utah entering into agreement, which will take effect early next year, with a private equity firm. The hope is to raise $500 million for a for-profit company that will run Utah athletics, with supposedly the president of the university and the athletic director being in charge. This is uncharted territory in college sports. The NCAA signed off on it. NBA, 2 games last night in the NBA Cup, Mark.
I was going to say not just 2 games, David, 2 games in the NBA Cup.
Orlando got 37 from Desmond Bain and held off the Heat 117-108 to advance to the semis. My guess is they'll play the Knicks there, because the Knicks beat Toronto in Toronto 117-101. Brunson with 35. The NBA Cup. I must admit, I do like the floors.
I do too.
Okay, I like that. Otherwise,
and look at, if it's something in November, David, that gets NBA players to play a little harder, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, we all should be, right? Now, if they could do one of these every month for 6 months. College hoops, game of the night, Florida, UConn, both of them ranked in the top 20. UConn, who led by 7 at the half, only to see the Gators come back and take a 3-point lead midway through the second half, held off Florida 77-73. 4th win already for UConn against a ranked opponent this year. Good game. Second-ranked Michigan destroyed Villanova 89-61. They're destroying everyone. So 10th-ranked BYU was down 22 to Clemson. They went on this massive run, tied the game, and then hit a 3 at the buzzer. BYU 67-64 over Clemson. 24th-ranked Virginia beat Maryland Eastern 84-60. Mark, our system play, we didn't like it.
Nope.
But we said we will blindly do it. All right. We didn't like it. It didn't work last night. Illinois, ranked road favorite, covered the 3.5, winning at Ohio State 88-80.
Buckeyes made a couple of runs, just couldn't hold off the Illini, who are better, who are simply better.
Yes, they are. A couple of teams who just dropped out of the top 25 had big wins last night. Kentucky, Rupp, not a sellout. Not a sellout. They had about 1,000 seats available at tip. Kentucky beat North Carolina Central 103-67, and Indiana by 41, 113-72 against Penn State. 10 games in the NHL. Lightning snap a 4-game skid, scored 3 in the first, beat Montreal 6-1. Mark, last night in the NHL was the night of the late game-tying goals. Cale Makar tied it for Colorado against Nashville with 8 seconds left. Nashville won in a shootout, but the Avs get a point. Mark, the Penguins had a lead and were on a power play, and Anaheim scored a shorty with a second left and then won the shootout against the Penguins 4-3. Remember that point if the Penguins missed the playoffs by a point. What else we got? Oh, yeah. Connor McDavid had 2 goals, including the game-tying goal with 2 seconds left before Buffalo beat Edmonton 4-3 in overtime. And Vegas scored with 14 seconds left, only to lose in a shootout to the Islanders 5-4.
By the way, the Islanders are pretty good.
Yeah.
Young and pretty. That I don't know what they'll be like postseason wise because they're pretty young, but just pay attention.
Patrick Waugh is their coach. They've got a goalie if he can stay healthy. Carolina 3 in the third beat Columbus 4-1. Boston 3 in the third beat St. Louis 5-2. Philly 4-1 over San Jose. Devils snapped a 5-game skid, beat Ottawa 4-3. And Dallas has earned a point in 11 straight games. They beat Winnipeg last night 4-3. Gary Bettman made an announcement yesterday that the NHL will be a nearly $7 billion league at the end of this season. That's what their revenues will be at the end of this season, just under $7 billion. A lot of people don't like Bettman, okay? I don't know if the sport was $1 billion sport when he took over 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I think they still hold a grudge for things that happened so long ago, and he's taken the game from a place that was in a bad spot to where it's in a pretty good spot right now. It truly is.
Including the NHL back in the Olympics, unless the ice surface, which apparently is going to be not regulation size.
It's 3 feet short. This is the stupidest thing in the world.
Well, this isn't the main issue. Apparently, the main issue is the ice is not going to be any good. And the NHL flat out said yesterday, yeah, if it's bad ice, we're not playing.
I will say Paul Bissonnette made a pretty wild fix. He said, hold the Olympics in North America. If the ice is no good, instead of pulling the players out, where the majority of the players playing in the Olympics are NHL players, hold it here.
Well, it'd be interesting if the NHL were to give that scenario to the IOC if they'd go for it. Would they go for it? Or
as opposed to losing all the NHLers? I don't know.
Which I'll tell you what, though, it'd be fascinating. Remember, there are no games being played for those 16 days.
Be the hottest ticket ever. People would jump all over that.
They would. But the other thing is that what if there's no games at all? What if the NHL says we're not going to have our players play on that ice, and then the Olympics go, okay, I guess we don't have hockey in 2026. Okay, then the NHL's got this 16-day hole in their schedule. Okay. Also, let's face it, some of those buildings have already, booked concerts and other things. It'll be curious, but anyway, we'll see where it happens. Baseball. White Sox won the draft lottery. They'll pick first this summer. Rays picking second. Dodgers.
Tell me the Pope didn't have something to do with that. Pope Leo, the White Sox fan, and they win the lottery. Coincidence? Well, I think not.
Dodgers sign closer Edwin Diaz, highest AAV a closer's ever gotten, 3 for $69. That's 23 a year. Mets offered 3 for $66, and Diaz took the Dodgers offer. And the Mets said they were willing to go higher, but Diaz said, "No, I'm good." Okay. Speaking of closers, Tigers signed their closer, Kyle Finnegan, kind of on the cheap, 2 years, $19 million. And the Phillies re-signed Kyle Schwarber, 5 for $150, $30 a year for the slugger to remain in Philadelphia. NASCAR Commissioner Steve Phelps said negotiations with Michael Jordan, quote, frustrating. Didn't give an inch on 4 issues, ever. Richard Childress testified. He said the only reason he signed the deal 2 years ago was if he didn't, he'd be out of business. But he didn't want to. And finally, Mark, we were talking about the Winter Olympics in 2026. The Open Championship has been pushed back to August in 2028 to accommodate the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles in mid-July. It'll be the first time the Open Championship will be played in August since 1893.
Was it tough to get credentials that year, David?
No, it was like me and 3 other guys.
Gotcha.
And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories, and we're pushing the golf back, and we may be moving the hockey here on Miller and Moulton.
So we've got a Phillip Rivers poll question up. Are you rooting for Grandpa? Right now, the overwhelming majority of you are, and I assume that will be how the vote goes all day. There may be some of you that just don't like him. Don't like a guy with that many kids for whatever reason. Who knows? But that's our poll question for now. We may figure out another one. There's no really good day. It's National Lager Day. Yippee. I mean, what are we going to do? Pick what beer you like? We may figure something else out, though. I don't really know how to do a poll question about the Utah situation because I don't think all of us, including you and I, really know enough. You know, there were a couple of people on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line that chimed in about it. One just gave me a history of the person that's running it, and another claims that the AD has far more control than I think he has. We'll see. Miller and Moulton, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins, all ahead. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. Fucking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best.
Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Puck, I don't know how many people care yet because there's not enough there. They might, and we can put it up. I just don't know how many people care. And I think it's fascinating how, like the one guy gave me a whole oral history of who Alex Shiner is. Alex Shiner, the co-founder of Otro Capital. It looked like he cut and pasted the guy's whole bio, and he's done a ton of stuff in sports. I don't know if that means it's good for Utah or good for him. I think it's good for Otro Capital. I don't think it's good for the University of Utah, but I'm not smart enough. Adam, it would be great. It would be absolutely great for Pittsburgh to get the 4 and the Colts to get the 5. It would be phenomenal. And I agree, Sonny. I think it is a desperate move. I think it's a very desperate move. I also think the Colts are very desperate. Yeah, see, fam, you would know about that more than me. I can't look at, maybe I know of some, fam, that I don't realize. I don't know that world. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a finance guy. I wish I was smarter, but I don't know that world. But I have to believe you're right, fam. I do. I don't. This is, to me, my best guess, this is Richard Gere and Pretty Woman, who buys up companies and sells off parts. I mean, that, I don't know. I do think, fam, you're right on that, but I think part of it is that I think these schools realize they can only go to the well of these boosters so many times.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, you phrased the poll question in such a way that I think it's going to be an overwhelming response. But there is a side to the story which people are like making fun of the Colts. And the poll question involves 44-year-old Phillip Rivers being signed to the practice squad. The expectation is he'll be elevated to the main roster. The expectation is he will play maybe this Sunday because, well, the only other healthy quarterback they have is Brett Rippon, and Shane Steichen obviously would rather start 44-year-old, 5 years retired Phillip Rivers than start Brett Rippon. But let me ask you this. Starter gets hurt. Backup is likely out for the year. Freak injury, working out in the weight room, and a piece of equipment snapped, and he basically has his face broken, eye damage, orbital bone, the whole deal. Now the third-string quarterback filling in for the first-string quarterback who suffered a broken leg that he was playing through but can't play through the blown Achilles. He gets hurt in the game. We're way past the trade deadline. If you're the Colts, what do you do? I mean, we mentioned it on Monday. Would they call someone like Phillip Rivers? I mean, somebody brought up Ryan Tannehill yesterday, who hasn't played since the end of the 2023 season. I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul just got signed by Tampa the other day, right? He hasn't played.
Right, but I mean, like they tried to, Detroit tried to get Ragnow back. He couldn't pass a physical.
Right.
So, I mean, you're dealing with guys who are old.
Right. So I'm just curious for those that are mocking the Colts, and I get it. Oh, they're desperate. Damn right they're desperate. They've gone through 3 quarterbacks.
We were talking about them potentially being a 1 seed a month ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago they were 8-2. They were the 1 in the AFC. Now the schedule flipped, and they've lost to some good teams here. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs, and I know they're 6-7, but come on now. They're the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and they lost in overtime. They lost to the Jags, and here they are. And they lost at home to the Texans in a close game. And now they've got Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Houston. Hello. I mean, I'm curious. You can't, would the league look the other way? Like we mentioned yesterday, is this where you reach out to Russell Wilson's people and you say, go ask the Giants for your release? Because no one's going to claim him. And so if the Giants were to suddenly release Russell Wilson, 2 days later, the Colts would pick him up. Now,
would be funny if the Titans picked him up just to screw the Colts. Sorry, I just, you know me, I have that in me, David. It's like, well, we're in the same division. Nah, you know what? I'm going to claim him just to honk you off.
But you got to put him on your active roster. That's the problem, not the practice squad. You got to put him on your active roster, I believe. But, Adam Thielen went to the Vikings a week or so ago and said, listen, this is my final year. You knew that when you traded for me before the season started. Since this season's gone to you-know-what in a handbasket, okay, can you release me? Because there's a couple teams out there that would scoop me up for the final month of my career and, at least see a playoff game, blah, blah, blah. And so the Vikings did him a solid, and sure enough, the Steelers picked him up. But instead, the Colts went this route. Apparently, Rivers and the head coach, Shane Steichen, are tight. Talk all the time. Rivers is a high school coach in Alabama, is running the same offense Steichen is running with the Colts. For whatever that's worth. Now, Mark, 5 years ago, He wasn't very mobile, and his arm wasn't very strong. It was a bit of a wet noodle, but he was very accurate, completed like 68% of his passes, won the 11 games with the Colts. In fact, they had more passing yards and passing touchdowns in 2020 than they've had in any season since.
The interesting part is a lot of the Steichen offense that Phillip Rivers apparently runs with his son in high school is RPO based, and the quarterback has to be mobile. So how much of that offense can they actually run with Phillip Rivers? Because he's going to be handing the ball off and throwing from the pocket. That's it. I mean, that's it. But he's got a couple of good receivers. He's got a really good tight end, and he's got a phenomenal running back.
But I'm just curious, if you were the Colts, what would your move have been? You mock or you go, man, they're really desperate. Yes. Okay. Yes. I mean, 3 quarterbacks injured. 3.
And remember the other thing. What did the Colts do at the deadline? They went all in. They traded draft picks to get Sauce Gardner there. They thought this was their opportunity to make a run for a Super Bowl.
And of course, now Sauce with a calf injury, and he's.
I understand, but I mean,
but yes, totally.
I mean, we can't talk about what happened after the trade. We were applauding the Colts at the deadline because they made the move, looking at where the AFC was, and says, "Man, we've got as good a shot as anybody. Let's push our chips to the middle." So I throw that out there, David, not to talk about the injury of Gardner, but to talk about the desperation point that you brought up. They decided a while ago they were all in. What were they supposed to do?
I'm curious if we had phrased the question this way, or just come up with a second question. If you were the Colts, who would you rather have? 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, 2025 Russell Wilson? Because I'm trying to go through the NFL rosters, Mark, in my mental Rolodex here, and I'm trying to think of the quarterbacks. Because the Giants aren't getting rid of Jameis. They signed him to a 2-year deal. They ain't getting rid of him. He's going to back up Dart next year. And so I'm thinking, I mean, who has an expendable, veteran, experienced quarterback?
And like you said, the Giants have to cut Wilson. I mean, Wilson has to go to the Giants and ask for that. There's no guarantees that he wants to. I don't know why he wouldn't, but, Russ is in New York. His wife may not want to go to Indianapolis. I do think that that's a distinct possibility. I will say there's at least one of you that's anti-Rivers. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Rivers, hell no. All caps, hell no, by the way. 100% jerk. Okay. So at least there's one of you out there that's completely against Phillip Rivers in any way, shape, or form. I'm personally rooting for the guy. And to me, David, I know your point with the Russell Wilson asking to be released, but don't you think that if that was at all a possibility, it would have happened? And I don't know, again, Russ and the wife's a star. She might not want to go to Indianapolis.
No, might not. Like somebody mentioned, Sonny in our YouTube chat room, Andy Dalton. Panthers don't want to move Andy Dalton. He's backing up Bryce Young. They're don't want to move him.
They're in a playoff race. If their quarterback gets hurt, where do they turn? So
right.
You keep, and someone even brought that someone said the irony with Thielen is if he'd have stayed in Carolina, he might have had a playoff team to play for.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Excellent point by you.
But, I mean, veteran quarterback, likely in the final year of a deal, who would be made available if asked. Now, obviously, Colts can't trade for anybody. We're past the deadline. Veteran quarterback that the team has no problem releasing. I mean, you're either asking for a veteran second stringer that they know they're not bringing back next year, or you're asking for a third stringer who's buried on the depth chart. And that's what we got in New York with the Giants.
And the other side of this, David, and I know what your point is with Russ. I get it. And I understand the Vikings did it. This is a league where you really don't try to help your other franchises.
No.
This is not a league based on friendship. It's a cutthroat league. So for a team, for a guy to go, hey, can you release me so I can go play for the Colts? There are a lot of owners that would just say, hell no.
However, in the Giants case, would they save any money? Don't know. Russ has been a quote unquote good soldier. Okay. Took the benching in stride. All right. In fact, him and his wife have still done a bunch of charity stuff around New York and New Jersey. I mean, he's been a good guy.
He's still a captain on that team, isn't he?
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's a tough ask. So,
right. And so, but if he went to the Giants, I mean, we all know he ain't coming back to the Giants next year. And we all know he ain't playing for the Giants unless two quarterbacks go down with injuries. If he went to the Giants and said, hey, I think there's a team out there that wants me to play, would you release me? Remember, Mark, Colts are in the AFC. All right. Giants obviously are not. No rivalry here. I think the Giants, if the Colts had asked, or if the Colts had contacted Russell and Russell had gone to the Giants, I think they would have released him.
One, I will say, if the Colts would have gone and asked him, that's tampering. If it would have been found out, there could have been repercussions in that league. Two, you may be right. Let me just throw this at you. The Giants have lost a couple of players over the last couple of years that have gone other places and bit them in the tuchus. Could the Giants, and specifically Mr. Morrow, who from the Hard Knocks, we saw his truth, could he have handled it happening again? Miller and Moulton. When we come back, a story we missed yesterday, but we can't miss it twice. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, all you care about is the Broncos? God, I would have never known that from watching your comments in the chat room because you never talk about it. You usually are talking about, whether it's show topics or bringing up interesting things in sports. It's always something out there. It's never, really, that's all you care about? I'm stunned. Color me stunned.
Guys, I got to admit, I guess I thought more of you guys. The Colts and the Chiefs are competing for a playoff spot. Okay. Number one. Number two, Steichen had Minshew 2 years ago. Feels he cost him a playoff spot. Bailed on him. Somebody mentioned Kirk Cousins. He's their starting quarterback right now. He has 2 years at $80 million left on his contract. This ain't a fantasy league here.
That's a good one. Yeah, I had one on the text line that said Garoppolo. I'm like, he's the backup for the team favored to win the Super Bowl. Right. He ain't going anywhere. If he played for the Raiders.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. That's why, this is a very, very, very small number of people. Like you mentioned, Matt Ryan, Peyton Manning. Don't know if they called them. Peyton hasn't played in 10 years. Andrew quit on them before the 2019 season. 2019 season. If I was a columnist in Indianapolis, I would have written the column that said that he owes them and he should volunteer.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett will join us at the top of the hour. Bud Elliott in a little more than an hour to talk college football. Anything going on in college football? Chris Perkins to begin the Diamond District bonus hour, talking about Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. What if they go
better
to
lose 2 games because I've got the under. Got the under. And if they crew me, I'll be mad.
What if they go to Pittsburgh and win on Monday night? So Chris Perkins has joined us coming up at the top of the Diamond District bonus hour. So what did we miss yesterday that we can't miss today?
We can't miss it today. By the way, speaking of Pittsburgh, it would be great for the Colts to get the 5 seed, which is not going to happen, and Pittsburgh to be the 4 seed, so we could have Aaron Rodgers against Phillip Rivers in the playoffs.
Wow. Sponsored by AARP.
Right. Or depends. We talked a little bit about the World Cup draw briefly on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't talk about it at all yesterday. And we missed this story, and it's a doozy. It really is. You see, there are sites all over North America where our games are going to be played. One of those sites is Seattle. And for whatever reason, and you may be for it, against it, or don't care whatsoever, but the Seattle game, I guess it was like game 22, before any draw was made, the World Cup and FIFA and Seattle had decided that this would be the Pride game. And they were going to have Pride rallies. And I don't really care what your views are on any of that. I don't. But the irony is just thick here. So the Pride game in Seattle was predetermined of what game it was going to be before we knew who was playing in that game. David, do you know who is scheduled to play in the Pride game in Seattle?
I have no idea.
Well, David, it would be Iran against Egypt.
2 nations who are openly hostile to
David, in
gays
fact,
and lesbians.
the punishment for being homosexual in Iran is death. Death.
That seems hostile.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. The maximum punishment for homosexual relations in Egypt is they have laws that are to suppress gay relationships and rights.
Right.
Yesterday, the Egyptian Football Association sent a formal letter to the FIFA Secretary General rejecting in absolute terms any activities linked to LGBTQ support during the match. The game takes place on the weekend of Seattle Pride. It's 2 days before the anniversary of the Stonewall riots. They're regarded as the birth of the LGBTQ rights movement. I want to make sure I get those letters in order because I am not doing this segment to disrespect anybody. I truly am not. But are you kidding me? I mean,
wow
is right.
It crossed my mind when you asked me, do you know who's playing? And I'm like, well, they wouldn't be stupid enough to put countries in who are anti the rights of gay people, would they? No.
I guess it's not affiliated with FIFA, but Seattle had this all in place. So if it was all in place, there could have been they could have picked a different game. They could have worked with FIFA. FIFA could have worked with them and put a ton of different countries in that game.
Yes. In fact, what do we have now? 48 countries in this field? Right. They could have put 46 others in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Egyptian Football Association in their letter said, while FIFA is committed to ensuring a respectful and welcoming environment for all fans, and in order to maintain the spirit of unity and peace, it is necessary to avoid including activities that could provoke cultural and religious sensitivities between the fans present from both countries, Egypt and Iran, especially since such activities are culturally and religiously incompatible with the two countries.
Is this the Southwest Airlines commercial? Is this want to get away?
What? Now, the Seattle Pride Match Advisory Committee, that's quite a group,
for goodness sakes,
has previously said the game will still go ahead as planned. There are 6 games to take place in Seattle. You know, U.S.-Australia is one of them.
Yeah, you know what? That would have been a good game to choose.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. Right. Iran, Egypt, huh? Wow.
Eric Wall, who's a member of this Pride group, said it's a positive that these nations have been drawn to play in the fixture.
My goodness. He needs to be drug tested.
And, you know, I believe that they wanted players to wear armbands and things of that nature. It's Iran and Egypt.
Right. Hello. Right.
I mean, you can't make this up, David.
Yeah, plus also the other thing is people are very sensitive. Even if they agree with your cause, people are very sensitive. You start adding accessories to the national team uniform.
Correct.
Very sensitive to that, as I think they should be.
U.S. fans would be upset about that. They would.
Yes, I think they would, even if they were pro the cause, whatever the cause. You know, if they wore blue armbands to support, you know, prostate cancer research and what have you, I still think people would be like, that's the United States team uniform. What are we doing?
So Seattle, which is hosting 6 matches, has Iran and Egypt on Pride weekend. Wow. That should work out really well.
There's a part of me that wants to be there and just walk through the streets wearing a rainbow shirt and just see the reaction.
Yeah, not me.
No,
I'm good.
You don't think it's like wearing a Giants jersey to the old vet or a Rangers jersey?
It'd be like wearing a MAGA shirt around Portland right now, David.
Okay.
I mean,
probably right. Probably right. You know, I will say, you know, the Rangers jersey at the Spectrum, that was rough.
Yeah. Yeah, the Giants jacket in the vet. Right.
That was rough. You know, fortunately it had a hood, so when they threw the beer on me, my hair didn't get wet. Right. Mm-hmm.
So I missed that. I mean, I saw it and forgot about it yesterday and had to bring it up today, particularly after the Egyptian Football Association released their statement yesterday.
Right.
So good luck. World Cup coming to the North American continent this summer.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
And I'm fired up for the World Cup. I hate that it's 48 nations. I hate that there's not really a group of death.
Totally agree.
We all have our opinions on football or soccer, and group of death really doesn't go along with that sport in any way, shape, or form. But come on. Group of death is one of the great, sports terms, if you will. It really is.
It's also one of the great World Cup traditions. There was always one. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament. You always look at one regional and go, so-and-so's a 7 seed?
Yeah.
They could be a 4 elsewhere. What?
By the way, wasn't that the Gators region last year?
Yeah.
And they came out of it and won the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So I looked today and it's like, the Gators lost last night. Look at it, and they're 5-4. Look at who they've lost to.
Exactly. And close
games. TCU's won, but I mean, man, everybody else, Arizona, Connecticut, Duke, they've obviously played some high caliber teams. So don't sleep on the Gators. This is, as a Spartan fan, this is very old school Izzo-like.
Yes.
Play that really tough schedule. Get your team ready for March. And obviously the SEC is pretty damn good. So that gauntlet of games won't quit for the Gators, who are off to a little bit of a rough start, but it's not going to hurt them one iota. Miller and Moulton, Seth Everett in 30 minutes. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Fam, if the Falcons had cut Cousins, it would have been a huge cap hit for them. They don't get financial relief. It would be just the opposite. Never mind the fact Penix is hurt. There's no guarantee he's ready to go at the start of next season. I mean, there's a very short list of available candidates.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes. Still Seth Everett joins us. An hour from now, Bud Elliott will join us. Chris Perkins at the top of the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Hey, I haven't asked you this. I really don't know how you feel about it. We know that the reason there is a group of 5/6 representative in the college football playoff is for lawsuit purposes. So we don't waste our time discussing the issue. We just accept it. It's a fact of life. They hand out one bid to somebody who they probably don't want to be in the tournament. They do it to avoid the lawsuit. The sport is messed up enough now. And besides, look how well the NCAA does in court. Let's just say there was a way to get around the group of 5 bid. Would you do away with it?
100%. 100%. And I'm really glad that you brought this up, because I was thinking about when I was going through the hell of trying to reconnect here, I was going to go there at that point. So I'm glad that you brought this up. I will say, I do find it fascinating that people who are like, look at, I happened to hear Jeff Saturday yesterday. He's not involved in college football. So when he talks about it's not the best 12 teams, maybe he just isn't educated as to why it is that way. I just let that go. But when people who are involved in the sport on a daily basis complain about it not being the best 12, how do they miss this? I'm being serious. Like, people who do this for a living every day complain about things that they should know.
Right.
And I don't get it. I get when the NFL guy comes in because he's not covering college football. I will say to all the NFL people, though, and I get your structure is the way it is. It's not always the best teams making the playoffs. It's not. I mean, there's going to possibly be a wild card team not make it this year. That's going to be better than either the AFC North or NFC South champ. It happens all the time.
Yep.
So don't give me the NFL does it right every year, because you don't. Your structure's better. Teams benefit from scheduling the same way other teams in college benefit from scheduling. Now, your schedule is predetermined and we all get how it's done, but come on. The New England Patriots this year have benefited from a schedule that doesn't have them playing some of the best teams. San Francisco is benefiting from one of the easier schedules in the National Football League this year. We accept it. We're okay with it. But a G5 school getting in, or G6 actually, apparently is the end of all being. Right. I would rather see I would rather see the 12 best. I would rather Notre Dame and BYU be in than Tulane and James Madison. And furthermore, this year it sucks because we've already seen Ole Miss and Tulane. It wasn't competitive.
When it goes to 16, are you still against it?
Am I against it? Yes, but I have less of a problem with it with 16 because one gets to play 16. Right now, the way it works is that the 4 seed gets the short end of the stick here. I mean, the 4 seed's going to always play a really good team in the second round. I mean, Texas Tech gets no break this year. They're going to get Oregon. And we already know that. They're a 20-point favorite. In fact, the fact that line's still the same is baffling to me. But I'd much rather see Notre Dame and BYU in this tournament than James Madison and Tulane. You know who else would? ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess Turner. Maybe they wouldn't have sold the games. Who knows?
Just wondered. I do think it goes to 16. I think it goes quickly. And I don't think anything's going to change in terms of the format. I think it's still going to be the top 5 conference champions. And it is done for lawsuit purposes. Period. You just have to accept it.
Because the NCAA still has to get this vote through all of the conferences. And the conferences aren't going to pass this vote without being included. They're just not.
Right. I mean, if you're one of the 130-something FBS schools, you need to have, no matter how remote, a path to the playoffs. Otherwise, you're going to sue. You are. And you're going to win. Now, Jay Billis every year, he's very consistent. He's done it for 20 years. Jay Billis thinks the NCAA basketball tournament should be the top 64, 68, whatever it's going to be teams. He does not think that every conference champion should get a bid. Jay Billis is not a fan of the little guy, unless the little guy can manage to be one of the top 60-something teams in the country.
And he's never wavered on that.
No, very consistent. Every single time, doesn't back off. He'll embrace the 15 and the 16 seeds going on their run. And then he'll be asked, by the way, if it was up to you, they wouldn't have made the tournament. And he goes, yep. Yeah, that's just what I believe. I think it should be the best. It should not be a system set up to accommodate, certain realities.
And that in basketball has driven David and I nuts because we've benefited from having some relationships with college basketball coaches and college athletic directors. And when a team sniffs being good at the lower level, there isn't a team on the planet that will schedule them that's a Power 4 school. They won't do it. They won't allow. The fact that Gonzaga's done what they've done wouldn't happen today. It really wouldn't. The fact that they've been able to build an elite program from a group of 6 conference, and I know there's more than that in college basketball, but you know what I'm getting at. I don't think the Zags would have a shot at doing, if they were starting today, like you always wanted, we're in Southwest Florida, or I am, and David was from here for a long time. Many of you who listen are still in Southwest Florida. FGCU is in my backyard, and we've rooted for them. And David always thought, and when he used to pen columns, thought that they could be the Gonzaga of the South. It's impossible. It's damn near impossible. Even if some rich Naples guy dumped a few million into the program, I don't know how likely it is because they don't get the opportunity for good teams to schedule them. The same thing can happen in football, not to the same extent, because football teams need home games and scheduling. And usually these group of 6 schools can schedule Power 4 opponents early in the season.
I think the only way it could happen today, Mark, is that a school would have to right away buy great teams right away. So that, yes, the first couple years, nobody's going to want to play them. But when by year 3, when it's like, ooh, Grand Canyon University's got another top 10, top 15 team in the country, 5-star this guy, 5-star this guy who transferred from Arizona, this guy who transferred from, wherever. Then the other guys will play them because it's a guaranteed Group 1 game and what have you. But, Mark, you would have to come out of the chute right away, overnight. You'd have to have some dogs.
And you'd have to overspend unbelievably.
Yep. Totally. I mean, you'd probably
mean-
have to spend $15-20 million a year for 5 years because every single year you got to be putting a top 20 team on the court.
And think about it. It's hard enough to do if you're not in the SEC or the Big Ten. Look at what Texas Tech has done and the money they've had to spend. And they've quickly turned it around. Obviously, they bought the girl in softball. We know what they've done in football this year. Their basketball program's a top 20 basketball program. BYU, same thing. They've spent a ton of money to have the best high school basketball player go play for them. He looks like he's the real deal, by the way. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. So it's hard enough if you're in the Big 12. Think about it if you're in the Mountain West.
By the way, if we're going to spend 10 seconds on college basketball, I just do think this needs to be pointed out. And we've said it, but we didn't say it with these specifics. Mark, Michigan's last 5 wins.
Oh, goodness.
Last 5 wins.
Yep, give it to me. I was just looking at it. It's funny you say that. I literally was looking at it during the break.
Rutgers by 41. Gonzaga by 40. Gonzaga, neutral court, 40. Auburn, 30. San Diego State, 40. Led Villanova by 30 plus at the half last night. Emptied the bench to win by 28. I mean, this is 1990 UNLV here. This is, holy smackers is what this is. I mean, these are power programs.
And at the same time, you look, and they're not ranked number 1. I would vote them number 1 right now, but you can't deny at the same time what Zona's done. They started out beating Florida. They beat UCLA. They beat Connecticut. They whacked Auburn. And by the way, this weekend, they play at Alabama.
Yes. Boy, I'll tell you.
But if you're doing a comparison thing, they beat Auburn by 30, basically. So pretty similar there. So
I know there's no way to get it because obviously we allow for many more losses for an NCAA tournament team in basketball. Never mind the fact they play a lot more games. I mean, they play 30 regular season games in conference tournaments, and obviously we know how many games a football team plays. But man, the early season scheduling in college basketball this year, if football scheduling was 20% of what the college basketball scheduling has been so far this year, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'd never run into the problems that we've run into this year. With trying to compare Miami and Notre Dame, which was head-to-head, I get it. But with all of these schools, and when you look at who's in the playoff and some of the scheduling that they've done, if we had competitive scheduling, it would be a lot easier. But the committee's got to reward it because we didn't get a lot of those games. And Ole Miss can schedule who they want to schedule, and A&M can schedule who they want to schedule. And, oh, yeah, Notre Dame, I get it. People are hot and bothered, but their schedule fell apart on them a little bit. They also didn't. They schedule bad Power 5 teams. That's what they do.
Mark, they may have to go 11-1 to make it next year. Their schedule next year, oofta. They've got Miami at home, and they're going to have a neutral site game, we believe, with USC. And otherwise, am I missing one?
No, David, I'll give it to you. Wisconsin, they're a mess right now. Rice, Michigan State, looking at Wisconsin and hoping they could be that kind of a mess instead of the mess they are. Purdue, battling Michigan State for just how rotten you can be. North Carolina, it's worked out well so far for Bill. Boston College, oh boy. Syracuse, Stanford, Navy, Miami, SMU at home, probably their best game.
So they got 3 games then. It's a 3-game schedule. They've got SMU, Miami at home, and USC, we believe, at a neutral site, although it hasn't been finalized.
Yep.
I'm telling you, 10-2 ain't going to get them in next year either.
I don't think it is.
I don't care what they've just been promised about where they're ranked and what have you.
Unless we get to 16. Unless we get to 16.
Well, yes, and we do have until January 23rd for them to change the current system.
So, but this is something that we've asked you, particularly you, the college football fan who loves Saturdays and doesn't give a damn on Sunday. Are you okay with every year your school going 9-3? And we don't think most of you are ready for the final part of the NCAA becoming the NFL. Miller and Moulton. We call it the Grade 8. That's because we line it up with guests. Bud Elliott in 35 minutes or so. Seth Everett on the other side. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hi, Seth.
Hi.
I have a really dumb question for you.
How long have I been up? Is that the dumb question?
No. This is way off because, obviously you're in a different lifestyle situation than you were a year ago. And I'm a goy. I don't know the answer to this.
Okay.
Do you buy your significant other, if you have one, a nice Hanukkah present, or is that just something you get for the kids? Like, as a Christian, we buy our wives, some of us, very nice Christmas gifts. Do Jewish people buy their significant others really nice Hanukkah gifts?
In the 20 years that I was with my wife, no. And the reason is because of something we both saw on a documentary a long time ago. Hanukkah is a American fake holiday.
Gotcha.
Hanukkah is a festival about candles.
Right. That I do know. Yes.
It is not the parallel to Christmas.
I get it.
So what happened is, in the proliferation of the television in the 1950s, Jewish kids were seeing all these ads for Christmas stuff and Christmas specials and all that stuff. And they said, I want to celebrate Christmas. And Jews were, recovering from the Holocaust. The Holocaust was, less than 10 years prior.
Right.
And so what they said was, how do we create something that the kids will like? Why don't we give presents to kids for Hanukkah? It's around the same time. And it's morphed into this thing so that and I don't mean you, but people who don't know better, if I say to you, Merry Christmas, you reply with Happy Hanukkah. That's like literally saying, like, here, that's like me saying to you, Merry Christmas, and you replying with Happy Flag Day. Hanukkah is like on the C list of holidays.
Right.
It's a nothing holiday. So the idea of getting a significant other a gift for Hanukkah, we barely do it for our kids. When I was celebrating Hanukkah, by the 6th night, I got crayons.
No. And the reason I ask, and I'm being a little bit of a ding, is that, see, I'm a divorced guy. And bought my first wife nice Christmas gifts. And the first Christmas when you're not married is different when you have kids, because it's back and 100%. Forth, and it just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But there's one bright spot. At least you didn't have to get her a damn gift, and you smile about that. And that was the only reason.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Last year, I didn't have a menorah because my kids weren't with me on Hanukkah. They were with their mom the whole time. They were on a trip together. This year, they're going to be. I went to Amazon. I got a menorah. Now, I bought two. This is a very Jewish thing I did. I bought 2 menorahs. Which color do you guys like? I'll return the other one. When I hit the button for return on Amazon, it said, you don't need to return this. Just we'll give you a refund.
Yep.
So then I returned the second one. Now I have 2 free menorahs.
That's outstanding, Seth. More developing Christian-Jewish relationships here on Miller and Moulton.
I'll be the...
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home, at least in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show, Live Oak, Lake City and surrounding areas. Venice, Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's time for Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, 2 terrific podcasts. And you're still doing them both, right, at the same time?
Yes, for 2 more weeks.
Then what? Back to every other?
Well, then we have my favorite podcast for the year, which is my 8th volume of 2 Jews Hanging Out on Christmas.
Big fan of that podcast.
That podcast usually ranks in our top 5 of downloaded for the year. So it's a fun podcast. Then I'm going to England. I am going to my first ever in-person Arsenal game. And I will be in England. So no podcast the week of New Year's. And then I'll be back probably with both for at least the first couple of weeks.
Seth, I have to ask because I think I know the answer, but I've got to ask. Since you are going to see your beloved Arsenal, the newest team in the Seth Everett family of favorite teams, and you love at any point to try to get an interview for Sports with Friends, how hard, if at all, have you worked the Arsenal PR department to try to get an interview for Sports with Friends?
I will not get a reply from Arsenal because, and I put this in context. If you use social media as the measurement stick for popularity, the Kansas City Chiefs are the most popular NFL team, with the Dallas Cowboys a close second. Arsenal has 6 times the following of both of them. So what I'm saying is my podcast is not even a blip on their radar. I can't even get the reporters that cover Arsenal to come on Sports with Friends, and I have tried. So yes, when I'm there, I'm going with a ticket. Hopefully, I'm going with a ticket, and I'm going to wear this jersey, and I'm just going to be a fan. The Sports with Friends will not even be a thought in my mind when I'm in England.
Good.
But I've tried. I have tried over the past 5 years.
Good for you. I'm assuming this a bucket list type thing, right?
Yeah, one day. Yeah, if I could, it's funny.
No, not the interview with an Arsenal person. I mean, going to see them play.
Yeah, seeing Arsenal and winning the Stanley Cup with my children. That's all that's left on my bucket list.
Huh? That's pretty good.
I will say I don't have a team. I have a team that I like in the Premier League just from a boxer that I liked many years ago, but I don't care. I don't spend time like you do watching them. Going to a Premier League game, however, is on my bucket list. I just think seeing that scene, and I'm actually glad, Seth, you're going as a fan. Yeah. I hope you go to the pub closest to the stadium before the game, have a couple of pints, walk in as they're doing their march and all their chants. I hope you soak it all in because it's something that most American sports fans, I don't really think can relate to. I mean, even the biggest college football fan, it's probably the closest as far as nutty fandom would be, an LSU or a Florida or an SEC or an Ohio State fan. I think that's about the only thing I could compare to what you're going to with Arsenal.
There's a song that they play right before kickoff called North London Forever. I've memorized that song. Wow. So I'm ready. So I feel like I'm in. What they do also have there is a chant for every player. There's no way I know those. I can't look them up. There's nothing I can do. I am just going to, as soon as they start singing for Gabrielle or any of these other yams, I don't know. I'm gonna just film it. I'm gonna video it because there's no way I can hang. The problem that I'm gonna become is it's winter time, and my winter coat is an Arsenal coat that I got. Like I got that 2 years ago, way before I ever thought I'd see a game in person. So I'm gonna be that fan. I'm gonna have the Arsenal jacket, the Arsenal shirt. I may have an Arsenal hat, and that's literally just the only things I own. And so
I don't think you'll be that out of place, Seth.
Yeah, I'll fit in.
I think you'll be just fine there.
I'm going to walk down the streets of North London with an Arsenal jacket, and I'm just going to fit right in. I can't wait. Cannot wait. 2 weeks.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. All right. You're a big hockey fan.
Yes.
We haven't talked about this in a while. But, Mark, who was the team yesterday that won a game and went from being out of the playoffs to in first place?
Oh, it was the Wings that they won 2 days ago. They beat Vancouver 4-0 and went from being out of the playoffs to leading their division.
And I'm just wondering, now granted, we still have 50 or so games left in the regular season. This could filter out. But do you think that if it remains this tight, that something would be done with the point system where a regulation win gets 3, the overtime and shootout wins get 2, and overtime shootout loss gets 1?
Yeah, That's what I'm a fan of. I think there needs to be a change. I know that they're addressing it. The competitive balance is crazy. I mean, the Devils just completed a 5-game losing streak after the 4th game. So that was 1 week because of this condensed schedule. That's 1 week. They went through from a Saturday to a Friday, lost 4 in a row. They went from first place in the East to out of the playoffs. That's insane. I mean, the competitiveness, every team is good. Every game is important. You cannot, I used to, when I covered baseball, I used to get in trouble because I would make a big deal if a team blew if a closer blew a 4-run lead in April, and I would get a call on the talk show and they would say, it's only April. And I hated that because those games count as much as September. It's the same concept. Like, these games are massive and the sport is marvelous in terms of competitive balance.
All right. You brought this up, I think, last week, Seth, about the ice and the toilets and the Olympics in Italy.
I remember that.
But what David brought up this morning has nothing to do with the 3 feet or the toilets flushing. Apparently, the ice is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a problem that the NHL may not allow players to play if there's the risk of injury over and above an actual game. Paul Bissonnette, who actually is, I think, a pretty smart hockey.
I think he's fantastic. And he is coming on Sports with Friends in the next couple months.
Awesome. Talk to him about playing for the Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL.
Nice.
But Bissonnette made a comment about, if that's the case, to move the Olympics to North America. And people kind of freaked out. And he's like, look, the best players in this tournament are all NHL players. They're all in North America. Why not move it here? If the ice is so bad that the NHL would boycott the Olympics at the 11th hour, is that a move they should make?
Well, I would say yes, but they won't. They wouldn't do that. They'd put it somewhere else in Europe. They wouldn't put it in North America. They would keep it in some semblance of Europe, just from a logistical standpoint. It would have to be DEFCON 1. Like, it would be like terrible ice. And someone's getting hurt. I've said this repeatedly. I hate these tournaments. I hate the fact that we're going into this and it's going to be, you mentioned competitive balance. One of these teams is losing a star. That John Tavares thing was not an exception. That's what's the norm. And this tournament is really intense, more intense than a World Baseball Classic and possibly even a World Cup, because it's so condensed. The World Cup is spread out over like 2 months, but the Olympic hockey is 2.5 weeks. Someone's getting hurt. Someone good.
Well, you mentioned, DEFCON 1. Here's the problem. They're so behind on this arena.
I know.
Okay, that literally, Seth, to test the ice, you usually have to stop doing something. Well, they can't afford to stop doing anything right now. I'm telling you, I think we're going to be a week to 10 days out in this thing, and I don't even know if the ice will have been properly tested. Okay, I mean,
what I hope is happening now is that the players' union is talking to the league so that they are unified. Because
well, apparently they are.
Players
it was
don't want to not do this.
But
players think they're going to get hurt. Like, the league has to have the player support in order to make any kind of a move. And frankly, I don't know that they'll have it.
Well, the league is the one that came out yesterday and said, if the ice is as reported, we ain't playing. And that came from Bettman himself.
100%. 100%. Look, Paul Bissonnette said it. I saw it immediately. I was watching it live. I saw him say it. And I immediately said, they'll never do it, but it's a great idea.
It really is. And he's a goof, and he says a lot of things that are hysterical, but he knows the game. He does know the game.
By the way, Mark mentioned it earlier. Seth, imagine last minute Olympic hockey tickets become available. They have to pick, I don't know if they'll pick, 4 sites or 2 or what have you, and they'll house everybody, and think about those tickets.
Yep.
What they would go for.
Did you see the secondary market for these World Cup matchups now that they have the draw?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's it makes the Taylor Swift ticket look affordable, for crying
Correct.
out loud. It's. I do want to ask you about that. We brought it up earlier on the show, and I felt badly because I missed this story yesterday. Seattle is one of the host cities. You're a Seattle guy. We've got about a minute, Seth. The Pride game, and FIFA chose or didn't choose the game
Egypt,
that they
Iran.
picked, Egypt, Iran. Yeah, go.
I'm here for it. Give me the popcorn. I want to see this calamity of calamities. This is one of the all-time, like, everyone's wrong. Everyone's wrong. You want to talk about the human rights stuff? That's wrong. You want to talk Seattle, really dumb move? Yep. And neither of them are going to budge. And FIFA is going to just put their hands out like this. And I'm here with the popcorn. I'm watching the whole thing.
Seth
One of
Everett,
the absolute calamities in the works.
20
Love it.
seconds. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Go.
Matt Baker, college football writer for The Athletic.
Yeah.
Really good guy. And this week, Jim Drucker, former commissioner of both the CBA and the Arena Football League, who traded in his sports career to create what he calls the Amazon of comic books.
Wow.
Fascinating guy.
Wow. You
Thought
got me there, Seth.
With the holidays in mind,
Right.
looking for random gifts, try to get some rare comic books. Check out the podcast.
Seth Everett, Sports Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Seth, as always, all the best. Hope the family's good. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, baby Jules, come on now. Whether it's these countries or arenas or, getting something done around your house. You live in Florida. You don't understand how projects run long. Come on now. We understand how they run long. They always run long. It's one of the things we can guarantee in life. Left Twix, we had the discussion with Seth a couple of weeks ago on this. I will put my knowledge of the sport of hockey in my little finger against Seth and take him on. 3 feet is not a big deal. I spent my whole life in hockey. If it were 10 feet, if it were 10 feet, I mean, because the old Boston Garden was around 190, I think, and it was narrower. So, but 3 feet, it's 1.5 feet on each side. You're not reducing the zones by that much. It's not a big deal. Is it an F up? Of course it's an F up, but it's not that big of a deal. It's comical, but not that big of a deal. So I don't see, but the blue line's still the blue line, Canada Relief. Whether the zone's 1.5 feet shorter or not, the blue line is still the blue line. And my guess is they're going to shrink the neutral zone by 3 feet, not the offensive zones. So it wouldn't make a difference. And by the way, I absolutely hate the number of goals that are called off because of an offsides by a fraction of an inch. I despise it.
Excuse me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time to talk the world of college football. Nothing going on there. We talked extensively about it off the top of the show, have barely mentioned it since, in part because, well, it's Utah. 2, it's not going to officially go into effect for at least another 30 days, maybe longer. 3, I don't think we fully understand it. Private equity money, a company based out of New York, coming in, creating a new LLC, which is for profit. The University of Utah had to get permission from the NCAA. It was granted. The NCAA insists that Utah have the power of attorney, if you will, that they have the say over coaches hiring and firing and major decisions in the athletic department. They don't want the private equity firm But Mark, here's what I don't understand, and maybe you do. The figure that's out there is that this private equity firm could help raise $500 million for Utah athletics. How much of that is just a check from the private equity firm? Or is this the greatest marketing company of all time, that they're going to take the Utah athletic department, which normally generates X, and they're going to add an obscene amount of money to it? How? I don't fully understand. At least with the Big Ten proposed deal, we believe we understand it. It's this company that's going to come in. They're going to put $2 billion down on the table. They're going to become the 19th team, right, in the Big Ten. You're going to have 18 teams, and then this private equity firm. And so now all money from this point forward gets divvied up 19 ways instead of 18.
Again, that's now, if you just think about that on the surface, with the Big Tens, for instance, and then we'll get to Utah in a second. So obviously we added one more to the pot. So each team, unless they're able to generate more revenue for the Big Ten by bringing in this private equity group, they're going to take out, it's an upfront payment. They've got to get paid back. I don't see how they get paid back without hurting the member institutions. What I've read, and David, you and I aren't, I certainly don't think I'm smart enough to even have long-term discussions. I look at, if there's somebody that's involved in private equity, I'll buy you lunch. You can sit down and explain to me all afternoon how this works. I would love it, and I'm not joking.
No, back in the day, we had a preliminary meeting, right? Weren't we going? We thought for an hour and a half of establishing our own NIL.
Yes.
Right?
We had an attorney call me or text me. I went in and met with that gentleman and his boss.
Yeah, we
tried to figure out.
Yeah, I went with you. Yeah.
If it was worth doing NIL for FGCU, if there was a way for these guys to profit. At the end of the day, we weren't smart enough to. I shouldn't even have been in the damn room. I mean, I had to go. I literally had to go to like a McDonald's after, and I don't eat fast food. I had to dumb myself down after that. That was something I couldn't do.
So,
but they are only in this to make money.
Correct.
And to be profitable. So they are going to look at every dollar spent by whether it's the Big Ten or, in this case, Utah. And they may be able to make Utah athletics more profitable. How are they going to do that? Does that necessarily mean making them the best teams they can be? Or suggesting that they're paying too much for whatever the case may be, and they need to cut it?
So this company, this private equity firm, is joining forces with the University of Utah and its athletic department to create Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC. It will be owned by the University of Utah's foundation. They're saying it's a way to build the school's brand and enhance the athletic programs. The new company could generate around $500 million in capital. Okay. The university will transfer some of its revenue generating operations from athletics and auxiliary services to Utah Brands and Entertainment. Okay. This Utah Brands and Entertainment will now oversee corporate sponsorships, ticketing, event-related revenues, campus-wide trademarks, licensing, etc. The university's board of trustees voted unanimously. They had an emergency meeting. They did so apparently in 6 minutes or less. So they are all in on this. This is not controversial at all. Sorry,
right.
Mark.
Someone texted the show on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line earlier this morning and basically gave me the whole history of Alex Shiner, who is the co-founder and partner of Otro Capital. It's a very impressive resume. He gives me everything this guy's done, from working with the Browns to the Cowboys to PGA Tour to the Ravens to all of these teams that he's worked with and worked for and counseled. Okay, great. It's a really impressive resume. At the college level, let me just throw this out there. Students at most colleges either get free tickets or very discounted tickets compared to the general public. Let's just take Florida. And I don't know what students at Florida pay, but I'm guessing they pay for football tickets. I'm guessing. I paid for them at Michigan State 100 years ago. They were way cheaper than what public or alumni paid. If this capital group comes in and says, you could make more money, charge the students more for tickets, and in fact, they should be paying a premium because they get good seats. Is that okay? I mean, you'll make more money that way, and we'll have more stuffy shirts in the front. Maybe we should just stick to students in the back left corner upstairs. Hey, you know what? How about playing music over your PA system? Because we have to give free tickets to the band, and we don't really profit off of that.
Mark, my understanding is, all right, that prominent university supporters, i.e. the big boosters, okay, are now going to be partnered with Ocho Capital. So they don't have a direct line to the AD anymore, the university president, do they?
No.
Okay. Now, of course, Utah's insisting, and the NCAA makes it so that the school has to be in charge of this. All right. And the president of the university said, the university is not selling parts of our athletics department. We're not ceding operational control to a third party. We're not relinquishing control of any facilities. All right. And that apparently whoever is on the board of this Utah Brands and Entertainment, okay, the athletic director is going to chair the board. And a majority of the directors, okay, apparently are coming from the university. All right. But this is private equity and $500 million. Those were the two things that got thrown out there yesterday. Private equity for the first time in college athletics. Big 12 thought about it, said no. Big 10 thinking about it, can't get all its members to agree. And they have said we're not going to do it unless it's unanimous. University of Utah, we're all in.
And trust me when I say this, if Utah's all in, there are other schools that are going to line up because now they're going to believe that Utah has an advantage over them. Put it this way. Skip the Gators and the Knowles and the Canes and the Big Ten. Why wouldn't UCF jump at something like this right now?
Got to get somebody or a company willing to do it.
I got you. But there's a growth there. You could turn the program into something.
I know.
Bud Elliott next. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239 444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton. I'm just fucking.
Hi, bud. Sorry, I was just retweeting something you put out or reposting something you put out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We talked about it a couple times on the show because, you know, the G5 team getting in. It's because they're going to sue if they don't get in.
Yeah.
But I'm so sick and tired of the four-letter network and people who are paid a ton of money to cover this sport on a daily basis that can't look into the camera and say that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild.
Booger McFarland, that should be the 12 best teams. Well, there's a reason why it's not. Jesus, you get paid millions of dollars. Shut up. Sorry, that's my rant for the day.
No, dude, you're exactly right.
So, yeah. And Notre Dame's schedule next year is really tough. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. How you doing?
Good. I don't know if David will go there. I do want to try. I don't know if you don't have a really strong opinion on this, I won't even ask, but we've spent a little bit of time on this Utah private equity. And I don't fully understand it, but I guess I don't get how this is going to work long term for schools. Because I think private equity will crush these schools in order to make a buck.
So I think in some ways they might be using the private equity as a facilitator to essentially allow for ownership of the athletic department by some of your like biggest donor families.
Okay.
We can get into this.
Like they're selling pieces off to like your biggest donors.
Okay.
I don't think it's that different than like some public-private partnerships in other spaces of, you know, of the world. I think logically also, if you have people owning pieces who have genuine love for the school, yes, there's private ownership, but you know, like I do think there's an element there where it's like, you know, like I think they have some like more care for the school, right? You know what I'm saying?
So you think that essentially Utah is this Otro Capital that jumped in, their first goal to get their money back is to sell part of the money they're putting down to boosters on an annual basis.
Yeah.
Okay. Not necessarily to tell them in 2 years you need to dump all your non-revenue sports because they don't make money.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till Chris Perkins joins us at the top of the hour to talk the Dolphins in the midst of a 4-game winning streak here on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He's Bud Elliott. Very busy year-round, especially busy this time of the year. College football, 24/7, CBS Sports, Cover 3 podcast, occasionally going forward the Nolecast when Florida State gets serious about football. Bud and his staff will get serious about Florida State football. Again, you can follow Bud on X at Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the letter 3, Bud Elliott 3. We were talking about it during the break. Don't want to spend long on this because we have so much ground to cover. Your thoughts on the Utah private equity story?
Yeah, so I do think this is coming for a lot of schools. I think that, like, if they do it right, if the people who are putting it together on the university side have the school's interest in mind and not just their own wallets, I think the way you do this can be interesting. I think it looks like a lot of public-private partnerships out there, and that is they intend to sell off pieces of this to, like, your biggest booster and donor families. You know, families who have given 20 million or 50 million lifetime, right? Like, to have a real ownership stake in something that they love. Now, that's not to say that none of those folks could eventually, turn around and demand the school be run like a pretty serious penny pinching for-profit business and replace the practice squad with AI or something like that, right? But ultimately, I think there is a difference. At least I would draw the distinction of, if you're selling off this equity interest to your biggest, like, supporters, boosters, donor families, as opposed to just some rando, PE firm out there, like demanding optimization, right? I draw a distinction at that looks to be what Utah is doing. So I'm a little bit less bothered by it than if they weren't.
All right. We will see in the coming months, because, my worry is, the students get a discount on tickets. Well, that doesn't happen anymore because we need to make more money. The band gets free tickets. Oh, we can't have that anymore. I mean, I just see a lot of areas, or the non-revenue sports, get rid of those. Those don't make money. And you think that, and I hope it doesn't, but you think this can be actually a good thing.
I don't know about a good thing. I just don't know about a thing that demands outrage.
Okay.
Well, speaking of outrage, what is it that's transpired in the last 72 hours that bothers you the most?
Man, I kind of laugh at Notre Dame's AD getting mad that the ACC would promote its actual football member as opposed to the school with which it has a scheduling agreement, right? Like, you have a duty to your members, not to the team that you play 5 times a year. So that was pretty funny. All of the stuff, I'm just surprised that people really thought the committee week-to-week rankings mattered. I think they don't for a long time. I haven't been on the Tuesday night reaction show on CBS for 2 years now. I think in large part because I just answered the same way to every question, which was, they make this stuff up as they go. There's no precedent week to week. None of this matters. It's just for entertainment. We'll see what they say on the final one, because that's the one that counts, and that's the one they'll change it all up on. So I think people are starting to, I think there's momentum to maybe have ESPN, even though it's in the contract, even though they make money on it, to maybe have them not air rankings 5 or 6 times when it's pretty clear those rankings don't matter week to week. I think that is probably harmful to the sport. And now you have some pretty big voices saying, maybe we shouldn't do this.
All right. To the coaching carousel, which is mostly completed, but there was a report out there that Florida State back-channeled to get Lane. You cover Florida State still pretty hard up until the end of the year. Was there any there to that?
No, definitely not. They had no chance to get Lane Kiffin.
Did they try?
The AD at Florida State used to work with him, so I believe he reached out. But I talked to other agents when I heard about this, and they were like, "That's hilarious." That he thinks he could get him. Although maybe it was performative, right? Like, maybe it was just for show. I do think that if he actually believed he could get him, or believed that, like, it was Lane Kiffin or retain Norvell, to me that evidence is a real, like, flawed process of thought, because if you look at it, most of the time these like can't miss coaches actually do miss. And a lot of these coaches out there are pretty damn good. And they come and there's some risk assigned to them. Like I would much rather have John Summerall for what Florida paid than Lane Kiffin for what LSU paid. Because LSU's not nimble anymore if that doesn't work out. If Summerall flops, Florida remains perfectly nimble with that kind of buyout. Like I think you have to remain nimble and not tied down in such a way that you're screwed for years on end. And I'm just shocked that Florida State acted in that way when they're currently like so tied down by this Norvell contract. Like, did you guys learn nothing? But I just think their athletic director is like so anti-progressive that it doesn't make a lot of sense what he does. He actually believed in the salary cap, like at the same time that LSU's promising to go like $15 million over the salary cap, like in public.
Right. Of the teams that made the tournament, let's focus on the 12. What team by seeding got screwed the most, in your opinion?
I think Bama Miami should be over Oklahoma and Ole Miss, personally, if you stack up the wins. But I understand like they largely do it by, like how many games did you lose? But just like, what's Ole Miss' second best win this year? Right? They have a nice win in Oklahoma, and you tell me.
Yeah, what's A&M's second best win?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think that I think Bama and Miami are better than those next three SEC teams, personally. Like I know Bama lost to Oklahoma, but they also outgained them by more than double. So if you want to run that back, and we will, there's a reason. Despite the fact, like for a playoff game, you're going to use like 3.5 or 3.75 for a home field advantage. Bama's still favored in Norman, despite looking like crap the last 2 weeks and having actually lost at home to the Sooners, they're still favored. So, who got screwed? I mean, I think Oregon was a fair one. I don't know if anybody got screwed. I just think like the one loss column stuff.
Well, I would argue this. I think Georgia got a huge break by being the 3 with the way they did the seedings. Like if I'm Ohio State, I want Georgia's draw to the semis. Okay, Georgia gets the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and Ohio State gets A&M or Miami. I mean, there aren't a lot of teams that can line up bodies for bodies with Ohio State. Those two teams may not be able to match everybody for body, but Miami can come pretty damn close.
The only counter to that, David, is that Georgia now has to play the best 2 teams in the country if it wants to win the national title.
But that was going to happen. Okay, you saw going in, okay, if Ohio State won, they were going to be the 1. Indiana was probably not going to drop all the way to 4, especially since Oregon was going to be the 5. So you knew Georgia, Ohio State, one was going to be 2, one was going to be 3. I just think that Georgia got the easier road to the semis.
That's probably true, actually. Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you had the ACC tiebreaker correct, then you would have had Notre Dame at Ole Miss.
Right.
Exactly.
And then I'm assuming Notre Dame's going to beat Ole Miss, but maybe not by much. Like that's a tougher road. Ole Miss did push Georgia, though, pretty hard. And Georgia's offense has not looked great.
But that was with Lane Kiffin calling the plays, and the committee has just shown us that apparently that's not worth a damn thing. That Lane Kiffin, apparently LSU should have paid him like $1 million. Because the committee said that Ole Miss is better off without him than with him, which is funny because, I don't know, most of us seem to think he's a pretty gifted play caller.
Exactly. No, I just don't think the committee is like, they don't really follow any process.
Any chance that the computer comes back into play here? Any chance we get a little human vote? We get a computer formula when we go to 16, whether it's in 6 weeks or not. Okay, do you think there's any chance that a computer comes back into the formula here?
I mean, I can't say no chance. I think the thing that they will do, because they got to prevent a situation where they have 2 G5s in again. Honestly, that's bad for this tournament. Half these games are not games that people are going to be interested in watching in the first round. Like that's a problem. I think that they will put in some kind of requirement that you have to be top 20 to get one of the 5 highest like conference championship stuff. Otherwise, those default to an at-large. Top 20 is a standard in most years will produce one G5 team. And if you're not top 20, what the hell are you doing in a national championship tournament, to be honest?
And that's
So-
like we talked about before you came on, Bud, because you just had posted on X, it's so they don't get sued. We've been saying that.
Yeah.
Bud's been saying it's why we don't talk about it on this show. But does that top 20, prevent the lawsuit, if you will?
Right, exactly.
Call
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm going to change subjects. So finish what you have to say.
No, I just think like it's a pretty I think it's a difficult standard to argue against, right? Like you look like a fool if you're like, hey, we're outside the top 20, but we deserve to be in the top 12.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're the first choice or the 12th. Matt Campbell, Penn State. On paper, is that a good fit?
It makes me really wonder why they didn't go after him earlier. The only question I have is how does he do recruiting the diva athletes that you need to win the title? Because you know what? Every title team out there has a lot of divas on it, guys who are good and they know they're good and they act like it. And it's your job as the coach to somehow get them to play on a team, right? Campbell has not had to do that so far at Iowa State because they don't recruit any of those level of players. That's the one question I would have, I think, about Matt Campbell is like, who do you surround yourself with who knows how to relate to those guys? Because at Iowa State, you've signed 0 of those dudes. That's the question. But I think everything else, like flying colors, great hire.
For the record, neither David or I had a problem with Notre Dame opting out of the bowl. We also didn't have a problem with Iowa State and Kansas State. Okay, so that being said, people want this bowl system to continue. We don't think it will. How much longer does the bowl system continue? And if it does NIL have to put a bonus in for kids playing in bowl games, Bud?
Well, I think they need to go back to the number of bowls that they had a decade ago, which was 29, including postseason games. If you include the postseason games now, we're at like 47. I mean, guys, that's just like a lot of bowls that you have to fill. So people are like, and now granted, a lot of it's like the bottom up stuff where you don't have enough teams that like the 5 and 7 teams have already gone home after Thanksgiving. They know they missed a bowl, right? Like they're scattering, staffs are being changed. If you go 5 and 7, you get a lot of firings there. The Notre Dame thing's a little more top down problem. I think you have an issue where you probably have like 15 teams out there that are like, all right, we're playoff or bust. And if it's bust, we're not playing in the postseason, right? Like Texas, I don't think Texas believed its own argument that they deserve to be in. And they do return a lot from this team next year. So they're going to play Michigan kind of the same thing, right? Michigan's going to play. That's a hell of a Cheez-It Bowl, right there, to be honest. But like if you're Notre Dame, you really truly believed you were in. The committee told you you were in each week, despite the fact I don't think you should listen to what the committee says week to week. And then you get bounced like that. I don't blame them. I don't think that like 15 practices, sure, but not 15 good ones. I don't think your guys care about practicing, right?
And retention's more important now than it was even 2 years ago.
Also, like what kind of damage is done to you if you go out there and you get punked by a team that does want to be there in BYU and your guys don't want to be there? Like you're more talented, but like Colorado didn't want to be there last year. Their prep that during that week, from what you heard, showed it, and BYU did, and BYU crushed them in the Alamo Bowl. Like you have to want to be there if you want to win a football game. Like it's hard to just like not care and go out there and win against like BYU is a good team, and like they're not amazing, but if Notre Dame didn't want to be there, they would lose by multiple scores, pretty sure. So I don't think like PR wise, image wise, your school, your kids don't want to be there, don't play.
Any evidence that ESPN doesn't want to keep bankrolling the bowls, though? I mean, if the bank is still okay being the bank, the bowls ain't going away, are they?
Most of your casual fans out there can't name any college players. They just see the logos, right? Especially this time of year. You get people home from work, like a lot of companies go work from home for a little bit, or you're just off for the holidays. It's on TV. You don't have to talk to your in-laws. You just flip it on, right? Like, I mean, it's just kind of, that's the formula. You just have some kind of live programming on. They get to advertise it as bowl week. More bowls means they get to sell a larger advertising package. I haven't seen the evidence that they don't want to do this, but I also have not been looking, to be honest. So I don't know.
Little less than a minute. Was there an early line that you jumped in the first games? I loved the Oregon 10.5 in the first half. Was there something you really liked?
Yeah, I took that too. I honestly, I talked to a coach who was like, if we had the matchup switched, like if it was JMU, Ole Miss, and Tulane, Oregon, I think maybe JMU, because their defense is pretty good, like maybe if Ole Miss really didn't show up, they could pull it off. Because the problem is Oregon is just so damn good on both lines of scrimmage. Like that's not a good matchup for JMU. So yeah, I do like Oregon there. The only real hesitation is like, do they play their starters? Not all of them, but like there's a couple guys who are still coming back from injury. Like, do they hold them for one more week? Because they're going to win that game whether those guys play or not. Like JMU is just not going to hold up physically.
Bud Elliott joining us once again, 24/7 CBS, Cover 3, Nolecast. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, thanks for being with us, buddy. Be well.
No doubt, guys. All right, be well.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's up, Chris?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing good, doing good. They got an off day today because they play on Monday night. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you heading to the Steel City? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday. So, yep, Sunday morning. So I watch Sunday football there at the hotel or at some bar, knowing me.
There you go. And Pittsburgh's got a great downtown.
They do. They really. I love Pittsburgh, man.
Yeah,
it's
my wife's from Pittsburgh. I love that city. That is a fun city.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
And you can walk. And once you're downtown, you can walk everywhere. I mean, it's gonna be cold, but you can walk everywhere. And
yeah. No, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. So, the Canes got in after all. So that's a good thing, you will.
Oh man, I told David on Friday. I said I still think I'm telling you, if BYU and Duke if BYU loses and Duke wins,
Yep.
I'm telling you they got a shot.
And the funny thing is, I like the transparency of the selection committee, but it just the week by week thing makes them look like hypocrites and idiots.
Idiots. It
Yeah.
makes them look like idiots because we just had our college football guy on, Bud Elliott, and he's terrific.
Yep.
And he used to do a show, the reaction show on Tuesdays, and they quit asking him to do it 2 years ago because he said the same thing every week. He goes, well, they just make this up as they go along, and none of it matters until the last vote.
Correct.
And I get why Notre Dame's pissed.
Yep.
But you kind of could see it coming.
Yeah.
Because the momentum started to people go, wait a minute, why are we playing the games if we're going to have team 10 in and team 11 out and team 11 beat team 10? Skip the names here. And now, if it were BYU and Notre Dame, the fact that Miami's a brand, because there aren't, no brand's bigger than the Irish, but Miami's a brand and a big brand, and they rate because you have an opinion about them one way or another.
Right. Correct. And if Miami would have missed, to me, their big complaint should have been with the ACC having Duke and Virginia in the championship and Miami sitting at home.
If the ACC doesn't change their tiebreaker, and I would have already done it.
Yep. Me too.
We talked about them having an emergency meeting beforehand because if it's Miami and Virginia playing one another, well, then Notre Dame's in. We don't have James Madison, and we don't have everybody complaining.
Right.
But as we just talked about and we've said it forever. We don't have a problem with Tulane or a G5 school getting in because they're doing it so they don't get sued.
Right.
Everybody has to understand this is about lawsuits. It's not about the 12 best. And for the life of me, I don't understand why people get paid a lot of money on the 4-letter network don't ever utter those words when they know that to be the truth.
Right. I agree. And Boise State made a lot of that possible, the way that they would, be 10-2 or 12-1 and get left out, and they would have a Jay Ajayi or some pro prospect, and so now, I like it. I like the possibility of a first round upset, like in the NCAA tournament, and then in the semifinals and the final, you get the blue bloods. But I like the possibility of a small school upsetting a giant.
Yeah, as long as those upsets don't happen after the Sweet 16.
Right.
I'm the same way. UMBC was great, but just give me Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State, and whoever in the in the Elite Eight. I want to see the big boys playing.
Yep.
And it showed by the ratings when FIU made it, or FAU made it rather, and San Diego State, no one watched.
Right. Correct. Yeah, because it's a great story, but nobody really wants to see it. That's the funny thing. What's up, David?
Hey, Chris.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, and we begin it every Wednesday with Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Hope you're well. And doesn't sound like there's any construction in the background, so maybe things are looking up.
It's kicking in right now,
gotcha.
but it's silent. It's
okay.
In the background, so we'll keep it that way, hopefully.
All right, they did it. I mean, you even said 4 weeks ago, hey man, you look at this schedule, you want to look at the glass as half full. They could go on a little end of the season run here. So what do you make of this 4-game winning streak?
The thing that I like most about it is this has been a run-first offense. And, Mike McDaniel has recognized that Tua is not the Tua of 2023, so let's ride Devon Achane. Let's get this offensive line run blocking in an aggressive fashion instead of, going back and pass protecting all the time. So I really like that about the streak. The other thing I like about the streak is the playmaking defense. The Dolphins are +7 in turnover margin in the last 6 games. So right now, overall, they're -1, tied for 15th in the league. But running the ball And they've had a lead also. I think they've only trailed in these last 6 games for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that. So they've run the ball, they've kept the lead, and they've produced turnovers. I like this formula. If Mike McDaniel sticks to this, let's have a talk about him coming back in 2026. Don't go back to that finesse passing offense. Stick with this, then we can talk.
All right. Glad we started on the run game, because last week we were asking you, should they pay Achane? Because it's he's going to have to get paid. Well, he still had a great game, and he had the one long run and ran for like 90 yards. But Jalen Wright there ran for 100 yards. So is it the system? Is it the running back? And does last week say maybe you don't want to pay Achane?
I think it's the running back, but it's also the system. I don't think that Jalen Wright could do that the way that Achane has done it. Now, I say that, and we haven't seen Jalen Wright have the opportunity to do it the way Achane has done it. And Jalen Wright is a bigger back. He's not as fast. He's not as good as Achane. Achane gives you rushing and receiving. I like the complete package that Devon Achane gives you. So I'm still of the school. Pay Devon Achane. Again, I think the 4-year, $78 million deal that James Cook got in Buffalo is a good model, $30 million guaranteed. What I would probably do with Achane is front load it and kind of make it a 2-year contract, because he is 191 pounds and running backs do take a lot of hits. But I'm still of the school, definitely pay Devon Achane, and then you can have some running back depth like Detroit with Gibbs and Montgomery. Then you could have Achane. Maybe Alexander Madison comes back. He had the neck injury. He was having a good year. You could have Ollie Gordon as a big back and Jalen Wright as another speed back. Build some depth, but pay Achane. Yes, still pay Achane.
All right, let's get on the record. What do we think of the Steelers? Because let's face it, some people shape a narrative. If they go into Pittsburgh in mid-December and beat the first place Steelers, are we going to give them a lot of credit, or are we going to go, have you seen the Steelers play this year? The defense is old. A lot of teams have run the ball down their throat. I'm not that impressed. I think the narrative needs to be spoken before the game is played. Chris, how would you judge this win if it happens?
I would judge it as a quality win, because we will have seen this team do a few things that we have not seen them do under Mike McDaniel, right? So you're winning in December, you're winning a December road game, you're beating a playoff caliber team. You guys know I don't believe in the cold weather myth, but they will have won in cold weather if you subscribe to that. So give them credit. Having said that, it doesn't mean that this is a Dolphins team that is capable of winning a playoff game, which before the season, that was my determination of if this is this going to be a successful season? You need to win a playoff game. You can have a good season without having a successful season. So they could still be a good team, and they could still have a successful season. If you want to go real big picture, will they have made progress? Will they have won a playoff game? Probably not at the end of this season. So, but when you win 5 in a row and 2 of those games are in December and on the road, you've got to acknowledge it. You've got to give them credit, but it doesn't necessarily constitute a successful season for this team.
Well, let's go even bigger picture, because the one thing that's happened this year has been the New England Patriots.
Yes.
And the Dolphins were thought of as the second best team in the division. And for a while, they chased the Patriots. Then they chased the Bills.
Yep.
Well, now they're chasing both again.
Yeah.
So big picture, what does this franchise have to do to compete with the big 2 in the division?
I think they've got to continue to build along the line of scrimmage. And I've said this before, that I like what they've started in the trenches the last 2 years. 2 years ago, you draft Chop Robinson in the first round, the edge rusher, Patrick Paul, the left tackle, in the second round. This year, you draft Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle, in the first round, Jonas Abai-Naya, the left guard, in the second round. Keep doing that. Keep running the ball, because I think this is a better, more stable offense than the deep pass to Tyreek, from Tua to Tyreek. build up your defense and continue to do it like that. That build through the draft, show some patience and be meticulous, be committed, be dedicated. What happens at the top? I don't know. With interim GM Champ Kelly, Coach Mike McDaniel, and Tua at quarterback, is that going to be in place in 2 or 3 years? I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm still of the opinion you need to take a broom to the franchise. Chris Greer is gone. McDaniel and Tua should be gone. But I do like the change of strategy and philosophy we've seen from Mike McDaniel, running the ball, having that offensive line take an aggressive stance in run blocking as opposed to pass blocking. Once again, if McDaniel is going to change, we can have a conversation about him coming back. So bigger picture. Things are still uncertain, but most likely Tua will be back, Champ Kelly will be back, Mike McDaniel will be back. I hope they stick with this run game.
Well, makes you think then that Tua will be back, if for no other reason than contractually. Because, Chris, I know you would prefer a house cleaning. I think we now, Miller and Moulton, are also to the point of a house cleaning, Tua included. But, Chris, where would they go in 2026? Forget 2027 and beyond. If they move off of Tua for next year, never mind the cap ramifications, who the hell are they going to move forward with?
You got Zach Wilson, who, as Mike McDaniel said, was a direct, calculated target. And we've seen the resurgence of some of these first-round picks, right? Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. Why couldn't Zach Wilson be the next in that line? If not Zach, you've got Quinn Ewers on the roster. Now, Quinn is a 7th-round pick, and that's a reach to think a 7th-round pick can become a productive starter in this league. We don't see that very often. I know Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick and blah, 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 but we don't see that very often. Or you just go out into the market and you try to find another quarterback. But you do have 2 guys on the roster right now that could possibly help. And Mike McDaniel thought that he could develop Zach. I don't know what would have waned his confidence in Zach Wilson. So that's 2 possibilities right there. Or you have free agency. By the way, in the draft, the Dolphins have a 1st rounder, a 2nd rounder, and 3 3rd-rounders. Perhaps maybe you use one of those 3rd rounders on a quarterback. I don't know if you want to go 1st or 2nd round, but maybe you do. So there's also the draft. You can get a quarterback to fill in the gap, and hopefully he becomes your next franchise quarterback.
All right, let's go back to this Steelers game. Because if I'm Pittsburgh, and look, they may try this and Miami can still run. But of all the teams that Pittsburgh's been playing against, this isn't the Ravens, and this is the Dolphins. And I don't trust Tua in the cold. I'm stacking the box. I'm making sure that they're not going to just gouge me with the run game. If that's the case, is Waddle a one that can beat you? I mean, can Tua to Waddle be enough? Waller, can Tua win a game in the cold if the Steelers just sell out to stop the run?
I think Tua, Waddle, Waller can beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is, this isn't the Mike Tomlin teams of the teams of the 2012, 2013. Ben Roethlisberger is not there. They're 7-6. They're not a good team, and as David said, teams are run up and down on this Pittsburgh defense. So this isn't a great Steelers team. But having said that, I'm not a big believer in the Tua to Waddle combination as a game winner. It can sustain, it can score some points. This isn't Tua to Tyreek. This isn't going to beat teams. This is going to keep teams alert. So, but I think Tua, Waddle, and Waller, that's a passing combination that possibly could beat Pittsburgh. And it's not a combination that's going to score 34 points for you, but it could score 3 touchdowns, and that could be enough. You force some turnovers, all of that. So if Pittsburgh stacks the box, I don't think Tua to Waddle beats Pittsburgh. I think Tua with Waddle and Waller could beat Pittsburgh.
All right, 30 seconds. I'm big on availability. Austin Jackson is not very available. He came back, however. How did he grade out?
He did good. He did good last game, and you know, he was a big reason that they said they had some run game. They can sustain their run game success. He's a first round pick. You need offensive linemen. I'm riding that horse until you know you can't ride him anymore. I know he's got injury problems. He's a bona fide NFL starter, and you need him on this offensive line. I'm sticking with Austin Jackson.
Chris Perkins, the Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. You making the trip?
I'm making the trip, man. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh on Sunday at a bar at 1 o'clock Central, probably drinking a beer and watching some NFL.
Do you have the proper clothes to handle the weather in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, because I survived Kansas City a couple of years ago, so
I've
got the proper clothes to make no amputations of digits. I've got all the digits on my fingers and toes, so I can make it. I can do this.
Fantastic.
Well, Chris, I may track you down because I'll be there for Monday night also. So
perfect. Give me a shout. Give me a shout.
If you get a strange text message, well, you know it's coming from Miller and Moulton. Chris Perkins, sun-sentinel.com, joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Wow. Triumph is going on tour, David.
Oh, wow.
They're playing Tampa. I just saw this. I didn't even believe it. I had to double check. They are playing Tampa on May the 24th.
Damn.
That is my second concert ever. I was 15 when I saw them.
It's a Sunday. Where are they in Tampa?
The Mid-Florida the amphitheater.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I saw that with April Wine. How many of you ever heard of April Wine and still thought that they were a band?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want, there's a part of me that would like to see it, and there's a part of me that just says, How about keep the memory of when you were a teenager and they were really, really good? I don't know how you didn't know that, Deadstroke. I think they had one album, and if I'm not mistaken, I had just seen a story, and I think this was it, that spot and didn't want to do music anymore, and Paul Rogers it was a rehabilitation project, if you will. Oh, EB, come on now. Just as good? Wasn't even the same band last year. Come on, Glenn Frey was dead. The singer they kicked out years ago wasn't in the band. I file a protest, EB. I file a formal protest if you've seen the Eagles were just as good in 2024 as they were in 1976, when Hotel California was released. Yeah, I saw GNR on their first tour. Sweet Child of Mine wasn't even a hit yet. And they were amazing. Amazing. That was 1988, I believe I saw GNR. I think that's right. Yep. And Stevie, I know you know it does. Stevie Ray Vaughan opened for Robert Plant. It's like Rush is, doing a couple of shows. That was my first concert.
Madison Square Garden. For me, Rush.
Yeah,
no opener.
Mine was the Saginaw Civic Center. I don't remember who. They had an opener, but I don't remember who it was.
Very early 80s. One of my very first concerts.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was a day when. It's all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. A pick or two as well. Is there anything we didn't cover today?
Oh, what's that?
Is there anything we didn't get to today?
Yeah. You kidding me? We haven't talked to baseball meetings.
Look at you. Look at you. Would you have done that if the Mets weren't the biggest losers yesterday? Are you not doing that to
$3 million over the head? $3 million difference in Diaz staying a Met. And I know the Dodgers could have offered more, but the Dodgers paid $69. The billionaire Steve Cohen offered $66 and wouldn't go up.
Well, this is very interesting times. If you're a fan of a team that was never the biggest spender in the sport, and then all of a sudden you had the richest owner in the sport, and you've actually been spending a boatload of money in the last 3-4 years. How does it feel now to be outspent for one of your guys? I mean, Mark, to lose somebody, if you're the Mets You're the Yankees. You're the Red Sox, Phillies. I would say Cubs, but they're spending a lot less money than I would if I owned the Cubs. But seriously, if you're like 6 or 7 teams in the sport, can you lose one of your best players over $1 million a year?
No, you cannot.
Or do you just have to bite the bullet and go, well, went a little higher than we thought, but we're going to pay it?
I think you have to. And now with Alonso talking to everybody, and they may lose both.
Yeah, can't happen. Can't happen. Literally can't happen.
Like, and I'm on the other side of this. I'm a Tiger fan. The GM openly said there's nobody that's not untouchable on our team. Okay. Like, do I want the Tigers to re-sign Skubal and overpay? I would love them to. It doesn't seem realistic, one, that they're going to be able to, and two, that the agent will allow it to happen.
Correct.
So if that's the case, the fan in me says this sucks, but the logical fan in me says, get everything you can and do it now. Do it right now. Now, I wish that my team would have been going after Schwarber and would be going after Alonso, because I've not heard any reports of that. But you asked what we've missed. I didn't really want something I was going to say had nothing to do with sports, but did we miss something? Yeah, the baseball meetings. You love baseball. It's your sport. I mean, how could I go to the show without bringing up the baseball meetings to you, Mr. Baseball?
Oh, it's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. I don't know how in a sport in which you don't have a cap. Okay, it's easy to lose somebody in hockey or basketball or football. You just go, here's our finances. We can't do it. Not in baseball. I mean, because here's the other thing. The owner of the Mets is losing money because he doesn't own the TV network that the Mets play on. So I do think that the owner of the Mets is losing money for whatever that's worth. He also just got the approval that he can build a casino on the grounds outside of where the Mets play. Yeah. So he's going to be fine. But, I mean, what I don't understand here, and I'm serious, I know the owner hires a general manager to do the work. But at some point, doesn't the GM call the owner and say, we're going to lose Diaz over $1 million a year? I mean, because to me, if I'm the Mets, honestly, just whatever Alonso's asking for, you got to pay it. You can't now lose him too. You can't. And the word is the Mets will pay him big bucks, but only for 3 years. Well, suck it up, guys. Come up with the 4th year.
I believe the Daily News back page was blown save.
Right.
And the post was womp womp the day the music died.
Yeah. Because, Diaz used to enter.
Right. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, remember how Yankee fans acted 2 weeks ago when Steinbrenner was talking about, well, I want the payroll to go down. And Yankee fans went crazy. They're like, dude, it's been 16 years since we won the World Series. Spend whatever the hell you got to spend. Red Sox fans a year ago, Mark, remember? Up in arms, angry. Why? Yeah. They weren't spending money. Now, they went out and got Crochet and paid him. Okay? They went and got Bregman a year ago. Okay? And the fan base still wanted them to do more, but at least they did something.
So I guess that was the one story that I had. There's one other thing out there that I know we don't spend a lot of time talking about this league because of the markets we're in, don't love it. But, Giannis told his teammates, don't get distracted by the trade rumors. Don't worry about it. Well, I don't know why they shouldn't be worried about it because you're going to get traded. And everybody says the Knicks. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen. I know he wanted to go to the Knicks. But if I'm the Bucks, there are certain players that I want if I'm making that deal. And it doesn't look like the Knicks are willing to give that. And someone who covers the NBA and does a really good job threw out there a dark horse team for Giannis, the Miami Heat. And if I'm the Heat, there's nobody you can't have on my team to get Giannis. Now, the Heat don't have the draft picks that other teams have. It doesn't seem likely. Like Oklahoma City could trade for Giannis.
Yes,
They've got all these draft picks, all of these draft picks. And they wouldn't have to give up their top players because they own so many number ones of so many teams that they're not even going to be able to sign these guys. So San Antonio, OKC, are actual landing spots, maybe even Houston, because they've got a really good young team. And would they give up a bunch of young talent for Giannis? I would. But Miami at least is now being mentioned. And if you're Giannis, you're trying to build your brand and all of those things. Well, you don't really do that in San Antonio, and you don't do that in Oklahoma City. You know where you do it? New York. You know where else? Miami.
Don't disagree. Now, the Knicks, the funny thing is, the Knicks, I don't think, have the assets to acquire anybody, to be honest with you. They've kind of all in on this group and all the picks and pick swaps they gave away and the whole deal. I mean, this would literally have to be a thing where Giannis plays the ultimate bad guy. He says to the Bucks, I want out and I want to go here, and I'm not going to play anywhere else.
Right, but they've said, like, Brunson's a non-starter. And if I'm the Bucks, if I don't get Brunson, I'm not even interested in talking to him. Not.
Agreed.
Oh.
By the way, if you're the Knicks, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, and I don't want to take regular season into account, but Mark, right now, my $20, you had to pick a team to come out of the East.
Well, I don't know what's going on with the Cavs because that's my first choice. But something seems to be wrong there.
Yeah, it is. By the way, if I'm Cleveland, I'm getting in the honest sweepstakes. I got good young players. I got draft picks. I got to shake this up. We seem to have gone as far as we can with this core.
But come on, right now the best record in the East are the Detroit Pistons.
Right.
They're not representing the East. Come on. This Cade Cunningham story is a great player, and it's a fun story. And I like the Pistons. That's my team. But come on. I'd still pick Cleveland because I think they're the most talented team. But if not Cleveland, it's your Knicks, David.
I know. I mean, when's the last time that was the case? Where in the first half of a season, if you're running the Knicks, you could look around and go, oh, I think we're the best team in the East.
Miller and Moulton. This last segment brought to you by Felipe, our ex-producer who would have done anything to have joined us to talk about the association. Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
She's good, Aurora. She's good. We'll do lunch today. We'll do dinner. We'll talk.
Is this just a holiday trip for you, David?
This is the only chance I'll get to see her before Christmas.
Yeah, you shocked me when I saw the curtains behind. I'm like, I didn't even know you were going to. So did you fly, obviously, just direct to your mom's then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. LAX to Newark.
Because when you said my Wi-Fi's not working this morning, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? He's in Jacksonville. Why is his internet not working? I would until I saw you. I'm like, oh, I get it.
And spend 3 days with her because Army Navy's in Baltimore, so I can just drive. It's a 3-hour drive to the game from here, and then Monday Night Football's in Pittsburgh, which is a 4-hour drive from Baltimore. So this way, I'll avoid some flights. And
I'm surprised you didn't take the train to Baltimore.
I probably should have. But I need a rental car to get from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. So.
No, I got you.
Yeah, I'm surprised Navy's only a 6-point favorite. But I really could use a break from an airplane. I don't get on one until next Tuesday. I could use a break.
Yeah, this is something I for the record, I am now listening to trying to see what April Wine songs I actually remember. And I do remember Just Between You and Me. Now I've got to try. I don't know it by title. I Like to Rock is the other one that came up. Kind of. Vaguely. By the way, the Canadian band Triumph not opening their tour in Toronto, but in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. That's got to be a really small venue. That would actually, I don't know if that's where they're from, but they're doing all of Canada first before some dates in the States. And they're not playing in Michigan. Wow.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Home stretch, 22 minutes till the top of the hour. JP Shadrick, Roy Cummings, among those on the show tomorrow.
David, I broke down yesterday. It happened to me. My daughter can get damn near anything she wants out of me.
Right.
But for whatever reason, and I guess it's a great thing, not even a good thing. My wife loves Christmas. And because of that, my daughter loves Christmas. Christmas, whatever. But I'm not a Christmas music fan. I don't mind Christmas music. I just don't think we should be required to listen to it in November. And I know now we're well into December. But my daughter keeps asking for Christmas music in the car. And I keep telling her, what about Led Zeppelin? Is my standard stock response. And while driving to her soccer game on the weekend, I was blasting Public Enemy, trying to explain to her how good this was. And she wasn't buying it. She wanted Christmas music. And I didn't give it to her. And basically told her, I'm not listening to Christmas music. And it bothered her. So last night on the way to dinner, my wife had to work late, and we met my wife at a restaurant. We got in the car, and I gave it to her. I let her listen to Christmas music. And I don't know if I succeeded as a parent and failed as a person, or if I just did the right thing. But I caved.
Yeah, but you waited till, almost 2 weeks before the big day. I mean, you waited. You made it through Thanksgiving. You waited until the calendar changed months. And then you waited a whole other week. I mean, I think you did well.
Now, the question is, and then obviously I'm in control of what is played in the car, but when I pick her up from school today, you know what she's going to want.
Well, yes.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. And I don't want that. I mean, I'd, rather give her a little Pat Kerwin on the ride home. Because nothing screams Christmas quite like moving the chains.
And it's a Motown Wednesday also on Pat's show. So you can give her that too.
The only time I can guarantee is that I won't give her moving the chains on the ride home is when Jim Miller's out and David Moulton's co-hosting. I'm like, I've had enough of him for one day.
I don't blame you.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
The holidays. Such a joyous time. All right. Where do we start today? Oh, 1799. Big day in France. And, a couple hundred years later, it's still not a big deal in this country. But the metric system was first adopted in France today in 1799. They invented it, by the way, in case you were wondering. 1884. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain is first published only in the UK and Canada. The publication in the US follows in February due to a printing error. 1901, the first Nobel Peace Prizes are awarded. The Red Cross founder was the first winner. Theodore Roosevelt, good old Teddy, becomes the first American to be awarded the Nobel Prize in 1906. The newly named NFL gets their first champion today when the Canton Bulldogs defeat the Toledo Maroons 19-spit. Canton finishes the season 10-0-2, allowing 15 points and producing 9 shutouts. They dubbed it the Grand Ole Opry today in 1927 on a radio broadcast in Nashville. Lawrence of Arabia premiered today in 1962. Sad day in 1967. Otis Redding. His plane crashed on its way into Madison, Wisconsin. Killed 7 of 8 aboard, including Otis Redding. Sitting on the dock of the bay, would be released in its unfinished form several weeks later. The first posthumous #1 hit and the biggest hit of his career. Superman the movie premiered today in 1978. I mean, it did have Brando and Hackman in it.
Right.
I mean, when everybody gets excited about all your Marvel films now, Marlon Brando did the first Superman. Reggie Bush won the Heisman. He would forfeit today in 2005. Johnny Manziel became the first freshman to win the Heisman in 2012. The first of the Star Wars anthology films, Rogue One, premiered today in 2016. And Lamar Jackson at 19 became the youngest to win the Heisman today in 2016. Poet Emily Dickinson would have celebrated her birthday today. DePaul great Mark Aguirre is 66. Yes, I went to Paul. Chef Bobby Flay is 61. Hockey Hall of Famer Rob Blake, 56. Carlos Rodon is 33. And Joe Burrow is 29, and I think he just threw an interception. What did I miss, David?
Well, you didn't miss anything. If we did a poll question, today is Joe Burrow's birthday, will he ever win a Super Bowl? What do you think the answer would be?
I would answer no. I would answer no. Not unless he leaves Cincinnati, and I think he's got to improve. I know he throws a great ball, but for right now in the recency bias, I can't get that interception out of my head. That pass against the Bills is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Will Lamar Jackson ever win a Super Bowl? Because that could be the poll question too. Lamar won the Heisman today, back in 2016, comma. Will Lamar ever win the Super Bowl?
Who wins a Super Bowl? Lamar. If you were to only be able to pick one, Lamar or Burrow, who would you take?
Lamar.
Because of the organization he plays for, right?
Yeah, it's a much better organization. Yeah. Now, if we throw in Josh Allen.
Wow.
Which one wins one first? By the way, think about this for Josh Allen and the Bills. Because barring a collapse, they're going to make the playoffs. Now, I know they're probably going to be a wild card. So they're going to have to do something they've never done before. Because he and they have not won a road game. I mean, you got to go back to Jim Kelly, I think, in the mid-90s. In fact, Mark, the last time the Bills won a road playoff game might be the AFC Championship game they beat the Dolphins in 92. But I digress. Think about if you're Josh Allen this year. You could have a playoff with no Burrow, no Lamar, and no Mahomes. I mean, come on. How much do you look around and go, boys? Yeah, I know, all on the road, but guys, all the people we've lost to in recent memory, none of them are going to be around. Don't you think this should be our turn?
Yeah.
Because in 93
is their, I looked it up. 93 is their last road playoff win.
Wait, the 92 season or January of 93?
January of 93.
Yeah, the AFC title game in Miami, 29-10.
Right. They beat Pitt. They beat the Oilers at home.
That was the crazy down 35-7.
Yep.
Or whatever
Then
it
they
was,
beat the
35-3.
And they handled the Steelers quite easily, and then they handled the Dolphins as well quite easily.
Yep. And then lost to the Cowboys, fourth straight. No, that was the one. That was the blowout in Pasadena.
Yep, 52-17. There you go.
Because the next year they made it. They had home field, And then, you go through their history. Josh Allen does not have a road playoff win. But no Lamar, no Patrick, and no Joe. Quite possibly the road in the playoffs for the Bills.
Their
Speaking
only
of
other
boys.
road playoff win, David. I've got it in front of me. No, they won one at the Jets in 80, the 80 season, 81 playoffs. Or no, 81 season, 81.
Yeah, at Shea.
At Shea.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the last football game played at Shea, too. Or thereabouts. No. All right. But yeah, the Bills have not done well on the road in the playoffs. Can they this year?
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Iowa for the good, where a 9-year-old boy is being heralded a hero. They had a lot of snow, and so much snow that the city said we need help. They called out for families and their kids to clear out fire hydrants. And 9-year-old Colton Holmes grabbed the shovel, went out in his yard, and dug around the fire hydrant. Turned out a day later, there was a major fire, and they needed that hydrant. Firefighters said some people had to be displaced because of the structure fire that happened, but they said the minutes that they saved being able to get to the fire were huge, as they say. And credit the 9-year-old. Good for him. For the bad, we go to South Carolina, where some prisoners thought they had it done. In Bishopville, South Carolina, Christmas was coming early as a drone was going to drop a Goodfellas meal off for him. Lobster, steak, cigarettes for days, and weed. I mean, what prisoner wouldn't be happy with that?
Right.
The problem was the drone dropped the contraband right in front of a guard.
No.
Prison spokeswoman said, "I'm guessing the inmates who were expecting the package are crabby." Get it? Finally, the ugly. We go to Polk County, where on Saturday morning, a group of teenagers, 14 and under, decided they were going to do a little stealing. They went to the Dick's Sporting Goods store, and while one of them bought an item and then walked back to see his friends, they started stuffing the bag with different items. They also stuffed a bunch of items down their pants and then tried to leave the store. They were all apprehended. The 8 kids were not allowed to play in the flag football championship that they were in Polk County for. And you could imagine that the coach was upset with his team. Oh, no. I apologize. The coach was upset with the police, and he told them, "Don't you have anything better to do?" Quite an example you're setting, sir. He begged for them to be let off so that they, of course, could play in a flag football championship. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, December the 10th. And it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Great pay, hiring new officers, great benefits, hiring other positions. All information can be had at
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. So, not a lot going on tonight. 4 games in the NHL. The TNT doubleheader. Rangers, Blackhawks at 7:30. LA and Seattle at 10.
Well, Connor Bedard early, nothing wrong with that.
No, the Panthers are on the road in Utah against the Mammoth. Your Wings are in action tonight, Mark. I think they're in Calgary.
They are.
Only 2
NBA Cup, though, David.
Yep.
NBA Cup, the West tonight. Phoenix is in OKC. The Spurs take on the Lakers. OKC at 7:30 if you want to watch the defending champs.
Let me ask you this. Do you think OKC covers the 14.5 tonight?
No. This just means more, David. It's the NBA Cup. You can throw out spreads in a game like this. No, actually, I think the Phoenix Suns have been playing pretty well lately. I think it'll be competitive. They've played pretty well.
Amazon Prime, if you want to watch the NBA Cup, 7:30 and 10 o'clock. Not much going on in college basketball. It's finals, you know.
Right, for the student athletes. 3 ranked teams in action. Purdue hosting Minnesota. They're a 20.5-point favorite. Houston hosting Jackson State. They're favored by 40.5.
A good one expected in Lincoln. Nebraska, Wisconsin, 9 o'clock. Nebraska's undefeated and ranked. They're only a 2.5-point favorite against the Badgers.
So that's what's going on tonight in and around sports. Tomorrow on the show, we'll preview the Bucks and the Falcons with Roy Cummings and talk to JP Shadrick from the first place Jags. Holy cow. Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? millerandmoulton.com to download. Thanks so much for listening. We'll do everything all over again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Have a great day.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind. Right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.